The show is not for free, but this is 5 extra free minutes. And you get 10 minutes of extra virtual reality. Oh, we're going to Jamie.
Guys, this is not for sensitive viewers, but this has just happened right now. I just said to Eggsy, there's a very cute baby impala, and out of nowhere, Karula just came out of the bushes and caught it. This is absolutely incredible. So if not for sensitive viewers, this is hard to watch. The little baby is still alive, so please, if you are sensitive, turn away now. But we had to rush you across from James. The safari hasn't even started. I'm out of breath because I just veered off the road like a maniac. Xander's on camera. Oh, where did she come from, Eggsy?
Kind of over the road.
Over the road, that was incredible.
My hands are shaking.
I know, me too. So there you go. Karula has her meal. She just came out of nowhere. She shot out of absolute nowhere, and it just goes to show how incredibly unpredictable leopards are. Absolutely unbelievable. It is well over 30 degrees this afternoon, so over 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is where, gosh, this is where leopards are amazing. That speed was absolutely amazing. Shame. Sorry, little one. You just didn't stand a chance. She's been hunting for weeks. We're just by the pump house where Karula had her 2 little ones just a few days ago. And she's finally managed to catch a meal. Because I think it's been a long time. She is looking thin. She really, really needed this. I know her little cubs are quite hungry as well. Whew. Well, that was a dramatic start. We haven't even got to the live safari. Our last time I saw Karula was during our live TV show, which would have been on Sunday for those of you in the States. For us, it was Monday morning, and she was looking very, very hungry indeed. Now, we don't know if she had eaten in between then. It didn't really look like it. We never managed to find her. We've been searching for her for days. You could see she's hot, she's panting. That chase took it out of her. And in the distance, the impala are alarm calling. Where did you come from, girl? That was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This is a live safari, everybody. You just never know what to expect. And in the next 20 seconds, we will actually be starting our live safari. We'll start this all again.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to your incredible live safari adventure here in the middle of the African bush where a female leopard has just grabbed a baby impala. This is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
And a very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome on the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Xander is on camera with me, and we are coming to you live from a place called Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. We are welcoming on board College Park Elementary. Welcome to all of the students there. I'm sorry if this makes some of you very, very sad. We're going to talk a little bit about how this is a very important part of nature, what we're seeing here. So we've just found a female leopard. Now, for our new viewers, please do send through your questions. We will be taking the school's questions initially, but you can still send through your questions and we'll take them as soon as we are finished off with the school session. You can do that on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Now, this is a sighting that's not for sensitive viewers. The little antelope is now dead, but the female leopard has managed to catch it. Now, I know that this is hard for all of you, and I'm sorry, I know it's difficult to see. However, this is part of the way that animals live, and when you love nature, you have to understand the good and the bad. Now, this particular female leopard, her name is Karula, and she has got 2 little cubs. Well, actually, not so little anymore. They're now 11 months old, and they are still reliant on their mom to feed them. So she has to go out, she raises the cubs all on her own. She has to go out and find food and provide for them. And for her, this little antelope means the difference between life and death. Each and every single big cat lives from meal to meal. And the last time I saw Karula, she was looking very hungry. She's still looking very hungry. So it's good that she's managed to get food, and this little antelope hasn't died in vain, because it's going to provide a really good meal for this beautiful, beautiful cat in front of you. So I know it's hard to watch, but it is part of what happens out here, and it is all the cycle of nature. You can see she's very hot, she's panting. Every chase like this is exhausting for a big cat. It's hot this afternoon here in South Africa. It is 30 degrees, so around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So this was really, really hard work for her. Now she's carrying it off to somewhere where she can go and eat a little bit of it safely before she goes off in search of her cubs, which is what she's going to do in the not too distant future. First, she might have a little bit of lunch for herself, because she's got to keep her strength up. She can't hunt and look after her cubs if she's not healthy, so she'll probably eat a little bit of it, and then she'll go back and go and fetch her little ones. Oh, that was so unexpected. Absolutely incredible. Right, it's not just me out here. Let's send you over to James so that he can bid you all a good afternoon.
Hello everybody, I hope you're having a good day at school. What a start to your special safari that was with Jamie, the Queen of Juma, having killed an impala. Now I know, but here you can see there are lots and lots of impala around, and most of these impala ewes, we call them, that's a female impala, have got little babies with them, and they're absolutely fine. So although maybe a little bit difficult to watch a little impala being carried off by a big predator like Karula the leopard, it's not too bad, because there are lots and lots of them, and most of them are healthy and very happy here with their mothers. So I hope you're going to ask us lots of questions while we're with you. It's always nice to hear from you. We all love getting questions from young children, because you ask the best kinds of questions. So any kinds of questions you've got, send them through, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. My name is James, by the way. I didn't even tell you who I was. And Dave is on camera. That's David's thumb. And it's a lovely hot afternoon here. It's probably about 32 degrees Celsius or so, which I think is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, plus minus. Good. We're going to sneak slightly forward, and I'm going to try and get you a view of some of the tiny little babies. And you know, all of these babies are only now, just about 6 weeks old. Some of them less than 6 weeks old, only 5 weeks old. There are lots of them. Some standing in the shade, some sleeping. They get very tired very quickly, do the little impalas. Aren't they sweet? And they're only, I don't know, how big are they? They're very small. Probably the size of a, I don't know, just smaller than a Labrador. Karula, the queen, is about to pull her impala up into a tree. Let's go and take a look.
Oh, this is what makes leopards such clever creatures. Look at Karula looking up into this tree. She's thinking about the best possible route and the best possible place to put that kill. Because there are lots of scavengers out here, look, here she goes. Look at that. That strength and power. There's lots of scavengers out here, hyenas, lions, and she knows that she needs to keep that kill out of their sight and up into the tree where they can't climb up and get it, and she can use it as a larder to help to keep the kill away, so that she can go and fetch her cubs without worrying about the kill disappearing. Look at the balance there. Imagine trying to do that. Now, it is a small antelope, and it is an antelope that is still weighs a good few kilograms, a good few pounds, and she's just lifted it up into that tree like it weighs absolutely nothing. Now what she's doing is she is using her rough tongue to lick away the fur. Now Matthew, you wanted to know how long do deer live? Now Matthew, this isn't a deer, it is an antelope, but that's basically like the African equivalent of a deer. And the difference is that they are... Sorry, hold on one moment. The difference is, of course, that they have bony horns instead of antlers. An impala probably lives for about 10 years, but unfortunately, these little babies, there's very often they have so many predators that often they don't make it past their first year. I'll just hold on one moment. I'm really sorry. I know that James has been trying to help me control the sighting, but there are lots of vehicles interested, and I just need to chat to them to tell them where to go. Mike, sorry, if you don't mind just standing by, we've got a sighting with Karula. She's just caught a baby mala. Rex, you know that drainage, if you come along Weaver's Nest, she's very close to the pump house in the Shkova there. She's just taken it up into the Shlashla. Look, she's calling. Panting a little bit, getting rid of the dirt. Now she's going to go and fetch her cub. She's just coming down. I wonder where her cubs are. I don't think they're far. Rex, come along Jigga Jigga Road. I can't get through the Shkova, and she's just making her way to, I think, to go and fetch the Bantuans. And she's going to pop out on Jigga Jigga Road. Sorry, everybody. I just had to get that message through very quickly. We're going to get round so we can follow her and we can see the reunion with her cubs. Let's go over to Taylor, who is on foot, so she can say good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What a fantastic find by Jamie. Congratulations. Isn't that an amazing thing to see? And what a way to start off the sunset drive this afternoon. Now, my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me this afternoon is Rian, and we've got Herbert, of course, out and about, keeping us nice and safe. Now, if you have just joined us, welcome. This is a live safari, and well, myself, James and Jamie, we hope to have chats with you today, so please send in your questions, #SafariLive, or send them through via email, questions@wildearth.tv. Now, earlier on, I came out here for a run, and as you know, unfortunately, with my butterfly syndrome, literally a butterfly caught my attention this afternoon, and about 3 hours ago, so this entire senna plant, all these little senna plants that you can see growing in this area were covered with African migrants, which is a greenish colored butterfly, and I was a bit confused to see what they were doing. They would land for a few seconds and then they would fly off. They'd land onto another leaf and then fly off. And I looked a little bit closer and you can see, let's find you some nice ones. Here we go. Can you see those tiny little white dots? Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Those are eggs from the butterflies. And I also want to welcome all of you from College Park Elementary, and I wonder if I'm sure you've seen caterpillars before on a tree or on some plants, maybe as you were growing, or maybe you still have had silkworms as a pet. I remember I used to have silkworms, but what happened here is all these butterflies have come and swarmed this tree, and they feed on the senna plants, the larvae or the caterpillar. Eventually, once they hatch, it will probably take about 10 days or so for these little eggs to hatch, and we'll come back here and hopefully we'll have a closer inspection on this tree and we'll see it covered in all the little caterpillars. I think there's going to be hundreds around here, but I found it very interesting that normally when you see a caterpillar laying its eggs, it lays them in a group. It'll lay them all on the same leaf, but it's completely different here. You can see there's one egg on one leaf, some have got two, and I wonder if this is not a survival, of course, mechanism. By dispersing their eggs all over, maybe they've got a better chance of survival rather than being in one group, and an insect that perhaps eats the eggs of the butterfly will come around and will be able to, well, eat them all. But if they're all sort of spread up all over the show, it'll probably help them. Hello, Xavier. Now, Xavier, something that we're going to try and find you this afternoon, you can see is this big dead marula tree just behind me. Now, Xavier was actually asking if we get any reptiles out here in South Africa. We've got so many different types, and one of them, maybe let's see if we can actually have a look over here. You've got to be very careful when coming to something like this because there's lots of fallen and broken bits of branches that the elephants have pushed over, but it makes for a good spot for lizards and other types of reptiles like snakes and tortoises to come and seek shelter here. So you've got to be careful, not because of the tortoises and the lizards, but because of the snakes. You wouldn't want to stand on a puff adder, which is like a viper, or the most dangerous snake, a black mamba. Even a spitting cobra would not be a good idea. And maybe when the sun comes out from behind the clouds, we might even see a couple of skinks and geckos actually sunning themselves out on the fallen marulas like this. So, Xavier, for you this afternoon, we're going to try and find you a skink, or maybe even a bibronze gecko. So we're going to go searching from fallen tree to fallen tree. We're going to pick up bits of bark and see if we can't find you one of the little reptiles. I think we could probably find a tortoise today too. It's nice and hot, so maybe we'll be able to find one of those. Rightio, so we're going to keep searching for some reptiles this afternoon and hopefully a few other creepy crawlies, but let's go back across to James and see what he's got up his sleeve for this afternoon.
Well, what we're doing, everybody, is that we are trying very hard to try and get hold of some lions, because lions apparently were seen not too far from here, and so we're going to drive there quite quickly. But I wanted to try, the reason I'd stopped there was that, oh, here we go, this is what I was looking for. When I'm out here in the bush, I always get quite hungry. Now, Dave's brought himself a snack, but I haven't brought myself a snack. David, show everybody your snack that you brought for yourself. David gets very hungry on drive, everyone. Being wildlife cameraman is hungry work. And there we go, that's what Dave's having. But I'm going to have white berries. Delicious. Now, remember, when you go into the wilderness, you must know what the plants are before you eat them. You can't just pick anything you see and eat it, because that could be poisonous. But I know this plant, it's called whiteberry bush. It's like nature's ice cream. It's not really, it's like nature's sweet peas. And only if you suck them for a little while, then you have to spit them out. Right, I'm not sharing one with you, David. You've got your own fruit. All right, you can have one. There you are. Right, let's carry on, see if we can't find the lions. You're going to drive quite quickly, because they're a little bit far from where we are now. We might be very lucky, and then you'll have lions and leopards in one show. Oh, I need to plug myself in, hang on. Otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble with our director, whose name is Louise. She's a scary lady. But she's very nice, as long as you're behaving yourself. Which I'm trying to do, Louise, I promise. Trying to behave myself. There we are. Oops, had to spit those out. Disgusting. Laval, are you wondering where the cheetahs are? I think I heard that correctly. Laval, the cheetahs, well, it's just not great cheetah country, Laval. If you look around us as we drive along at high speed, you can see that the bush is very thick. But thick bush is very good for nyala. Isn't that a beautiful animal? That's called a nyala. And that's a big bull nyala. He's a male. The females, I'm just going to move a little bit forward. They're off to the right-hand side. There they are. And those are the females. You can see they're a totally different color from the males, and they don't have horns. And they're living in the thick bush. Now, cheetahs don't really like this kind of bush because it's too thick. Remember, they run at about 60 miles an hour, and because they run at 60 miles an hour, can you imagine running at 60 miles an hour through bush like this? You'd bang your head. You'd hurt yourself quite badly. And so they're not like the leopard, which you've just seen, which is just killed, of course. That little baby impala, there's another big nyala ram there, or nyala bull. They don't hide under the bushes, the cheetah. They like to chase across big open areas. And that's why they don't really occur here. Okay, we're going to carry on moving because we want to try and see those lions while you're still in this lesson. Sorry, Nyalas. Jump out the way. On we go. Ooh, I'm going to have to stop again. There's a special bird on the tree there. Can you see it though? It's on the bottom branch of that big tree there. That, everybody, is called a European roller. And a European roller is a bird that flies all the way from Europe down to South Africa when the summer comes. Isn't that gorgeous? All right, let's head straight back to Taylor. She's managed to find you a little bug or beetle that's coloured like a dice.
We have indeed got a bug of some sort, and it looks to be a ladybug. Now, I remember growing up as a kid, finding lots and lots of different colours of ladybugs, orange ones, red ones, some with bigger spots than others. And you get many, many different hundreds of species of ladybugs all over the world. And this one, I'm not exactly sure as if it has a common name. A lot of these insects that we find out here, they haven't got a common name. You have to call them by their Latin names, and that can be a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult, their scientific names. So we'll just stick with it, and I'm almost certain that it's a little ladybug of some sort. Now, another thing that I remember growing up as a kid is that if I'd find one, I'd have to pick it up and let it crawl over my body, because it meant, and this is what my dad told me, but my dad also told me a lot of stories growing up that I found out now that are not true. And he used to tell me that if you let a ladybug crawl on you, or if you're lucky enough to have one fly and land on your arm or your leg, it would bring you 7 years of good luck. And I think he just turned that around, and with the whole superstition of if you break a mirror, you get 7 years of bad luck. And I'm not sure of how true it is. Maybe some of you have heard this before, and if you have, I'd like to hear from you. I'd love to know if you know any stories about ladybug. You can maybe send them through to us. Rightio, and we found a caterpillar over here as well. Let me see if I can find it again. Got to be careful. You've got to watch where you're walking. Though I should probably copy my own words. Take a picture. Where did I find it? It was somewhere in this grass. Now, the problem with these caterpillars is that they're so well camouflaged, it can be quite difficult to find them again. But it was a really beautiful caterpillar. Where did it go? It looked like it was from a lunar moth. So it was bright green. Now I'm just trying to... Oh, here it is. Hello. There it is, sitting in there. Can you see that, Rian? Let's try and move the grass away from it. There it is. It's very difficult. It's got itself curled up in all the long grass. And you can see why it was so hard to try and find it again. It is very, very small. It's probably about maybe half the length of your baby finger, your pinky finger. And it's hiding away, munching on some grass this afternoon. Maybe it doesn't even eat grass. Maybe it's on its way to something tastier. But it looks like it's playing dead at the moment. Can you see that? Now, where's your head? Let's see if we can... There it is. That's a little bit better. Don't hide away. No, it doesn't want to be our friend today. There we go. Get moving. Move around so we can see how beautiful you are. You can see green with a beautiful white on it. But it does not want to show us its whole body, and that's a pity. But we'll keep looking for lots of these little critters. And Xavier, don't worry, I'm still looking for lizards and things. This would be a good tree to look for a lizard on. You'd have to check those branches and see if there's anybody sitting out in the sun trying to keep themselves warm, or looking for a tasty treat to eat. But speaking of tasty treats, let's go back across to Jamie, who's got that beautiful spotted cat who's made a kill.
Oh, Karula has given us the slip. She's moved into some very, very dense vegetation. Now, she is looking for her cubs, which just goes to show the amazing nature of these female leopards. The fact that despite being really, really hungry, she's gone to go and find her cubs first. So she's not even eating lunch. she's gone to go and look after her little ones. So she's come into this very dense area. There is a dried up riverbed that runs along here. And somewhere in here is our leopard. I'm just sitting listening quietly. There are 3 of us waiting to see whether she pops up. And basically we've dotted ourselves. There's one vehicle over there, there's myself over here, and then there's another vehicle behind me. So we're spread out in the direction that she's moving in. Oh, I think they might have spotted her, judging by the sound of the trees that just moved. What do you think, Eggsy? I think that might be the case. Let's go and find out. Might also just have driven over a tree, but that seems unlikely. Now, what I'm really, really wanting to show you is the reunion between the cubs. Hold on. Actually, I don't think they have spotted her. Oh, no, maybe they have. I want to see the reunion between the cubs and their mother. I'm going backwards and forwards like a seesaw. I'm not sure what to do. Hold on. Because if one of us moves, and here we're going to miss her completely. I suspect that she's hidden her little ones somewhere over here. Now, the difficulty
who have yet to see a cat. They have seen some nyalas and impalas and waterbuck. By the time we get to Leadwood Road... Oh, I see, we've crash cut. I was just using a strange accent there. We're approaching, everybody, some lions, and you know what's with them? Some tiny little baby lions. We're very excited. Hold on tight, everyone. Oh, all right, we're going up here now. Now, there should be just here 2 lionesses and 2 little baby cubs. Now, lion cubs, I think, everyone, are the cutest things in the whole world. So I'm not going to stop for anything else until we see if we can't find them. Should be just round the corner here. Or maybe round the next corner. That's what's so lovely about being out here. You know, we never know what's going to be around the next corner. You'll hear us say that quite a lot, because it really is true. So you've seen so far, let's count the animals you've seen today. You've seen leopards. You've seen, well, not yet lions, hopefully lions soon. You've seen impala and impala babies. You've seen a nyala bull and nyala cows. That's male and female nyalas. You've seen a European roller. And what else have you seen? You've seen a ladybug. And you've seen some eggs of a vagrant, the African vagrant, which is a kind of a butterfly. So you've seen lots and lots of things on your first little outing of safari here. And I'm sure you're amazed by the fact that it's very cold where you are, but where we are, of course. Oh, they're starting to move. They're starting to move, these lions. I'm hearing on the radio where they are. They should be just up ahead. They move a little bit faster. And we're going to be very lucky, I hope. Oh, look, 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 there's the lion. Straight through there. Can you see everyone? And look, just behind her, 2 little baby lions. Oh, look how sweet they are. They're so cute. Okay, let's carry on. We'll try and get a good view. And they're the cutest things in the world. Okay, we're going to go through here because it'll be a little bit easier, I think. How much does a lion cub weigh, you say, Matthew? A lion cub doesn't weigh very much, Matthew. When it's born, it only weighs about, I don't know what it is in imperial measures. Well, let's say about 300 grams. So 300 grams is about, excuse me, it's about 1/8 of a pound. So it's really very little. Not 1/8 of a pound. No, it's not. Whoops, the daisy, it's about 1/2 pound. I'm just going to talk on the radio. I had brief visual mic. I'm moving in, if that's okay. Here they come. They're right here. They're just inside this thickness of bush here. Oh, here they come. Now, what I want you to listen to very carefully is their noise they make. It's one of my favorite noises in the bush. They go, wow, wow, wow. Let's move a little bit forward, Dave. You might get a little bit of a decent view. I go, oh, we're going to get a great view here, everyone. This is going to be so special. Isn't that nice? Little lion cubs. And their mum. Now there's another lioness around here somewhere. Be very exciting. Isn't that nice? Now this pride of lions is called the Styx pride. And they don't normally come up here. It's quite interesting that they are this close to where the other lions we see are. Oh, look. Now I'm afraid these lions are a little bit sick. That's why their ears look a bit funny. I'm going to move forward again. They've got a funny skin disease called mange. And mange makes their skin very itchy, and so they scratch their hair and the hair comes off, and that's why the backs of their ears are a little bit kind of well, it looks like they don't have much hair. Dave, have you got a picture there or not really?
Better from the back.
From the back? Shall I go back? Let me go back a little. Say when, Dave.
A little bit more long.
Uh-huh. Now what they're doing is feeding. See that? They're suckling. And I'm afraid when I look at these little lions, I have to feel a little bit sorry for them because I don't think they're very well at the moment. They look a bit skinny. But you know, life out here is very tough. It's not easy. And so the animals have to, mother's got to find enough to eat in the same way that you just saw Karula, our leopard, killing for her cubs. So this lioness has got to kill for her cubs too. But at the moment they don't eat meat, they only drink milk. And the amount of milk that she makes in her body, very much herself. And Kumani, you were wondering what these lion cubs eat. Until they are about 6 months old, they'll eat milk. But from about 3 months, they'll start eating meat. So they like the taste of meat, but at the moment it doesn't give them enough nutrition. They don't have very tough teeth, and they need the milk to drink. Here comes the other lion, Dave. There comes the other lioness. Now if you see a vehicle, it is the other safari vehicle that's in the other area. Alright, Taylor has got a reptile to show you.
Xavier, look what we found for you. We have found you a skink. It looks like a very young striped skink sitting up on this fallen marula tree. And like I said, this makes for a very, very good spot. There's lots of bark that's been peeled away by the elephants, so they can still come out and sun themselves. Oh, it looked like it got something to eat there. Nom, 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 nom. I don't know what it ate. Maybe a small fly or something like that. Bless you, Herbert. It's Herbert sneezing in the background. And it also provides for lots of little insects because wood borers will eat the wood. You'll get flies coming in, landing, trying to also keep out of the heat of the day. And if something bigger, maybe like a small raptor, which is a bird of prey, comes flying about and is specifically looking, come look, here's another one. Can you see it crawling away? That's an even bigger one. if one of those birds come flying about, at least these little skinks will have an opportunity to race on underneath the bark and escape the talons of that bird. But look how quick it is. Look how easy it is for it to maneuver over all of those fallen bark. And now when they're hungry, they don't just sit and wait around. They have to move around like the skink is doing over all these obstacles, looking for flies and things to eat. And they are very quick. So sometimes they will sit and wait for something to land close to them. Otherwise, they will scurry around and they will chase it and grab it very quickly. They've also got a sticky tongue, so it helps hold on to their prey. But we're going to go back across into James's vehicle and have a look at those lovely lion cubs.
The cubs are moving away with another female, with the other lioness. And what's interesting, everyone, is that the other lioness looks like she might also have babies. And the way we can tell that is that she's got those teats between her back legs that produce the milk. The other lioness has also got teats that are quite swollen, which normally means that they've both got cubs. Oh, Brianna, that's a very nice question. You say, do lions eat all animals? Or there's some animals that a lion won't eat? You know what, Brianna? There are actually no animals that a lion won't eat. They even eat each other sometimes. Isn't that disgusting? It might also be that these two cubs are not brother and sister or sisters, that one of them comes from one lioness and one comes from the other. Now, they really are not very healthy, these lions. If we look at the one to the, well, we can look at the cubs first. And look, they're trying to make friends with Mum. And if we go across to the one on the right there, Dave, you can see she's not well. Can you see the black skin there? That black skin is indicative of the fact that she has got what we call mange, that horrible disease I was telling you about. I don't know what's going to happen with her. They've had it for a long time. Sorry, we're just wiping some spider web off the lens there. That's what you saw happening there. Hello, College Park Elementary, or all of you. You want to know how it is that mange heals. It basically heals everyone through time. So in much the same way that you know, if you have a cold, I know your mum and dad might actually cure you, just makes you feel a bit better. The cold that you get, your body has to fight it off on its own. And we know that the best way for your body to fight off a cold is for you to eat the right things, so you don't have sweets and chocolates and chips and junk food when you're sick. You eat vegetables and you eat good healthy meat and healthy foods, and then you get better. Now, the same thing happens with lions and animals out here. There's nothing but time and good food and drink that can help these lions to overcome their disease, that is mange. And if they don't eat properly, and I don't know how well these lionesses are eating because they look skinny to me, if they don't eat properly, then it's going to take a long time for the mange to get better. That makes sense? And Laval, you ask another very good question. You say, how much hair do they lose when they have this disease? Well, you know, Laval, they can lose all of their hair. We've seen these little cubs lose all of their hair. Not these two, but the last two that this pride had, they lost every single piece of their hair. It was very, very sad to watch. But that's what happens, you see. Now we've got another pride of lions that we view here, and they're called the Nkahuma pride, and they also had mange, but their mange got better. And that's because they were eating a lot more than this pride was, which meant that they were able to cope with the disease. It wasn't so difficult for them to get cured. And that's why I say to you, it's so important. It's so very, very important that they eat the right thing. Does that make sense, everyone? And Brianna, another good one from you. You say, do the cubs follow their mums everywhere? They don't follow them everywhere, Brianna, because they don't follow them when they're hunting. When they're not hunting, what they do is that they are left behind in some thick bush somewhere, and then the mothers go off hunting, and then the mothers will eat, and they'll come back and fetch the cubs. When the cubs are about 6 weeks old, so roughly around about the age that these cubs are, I think they're about 6 weeks old now, maybe a little bit older, what will happen is that the lionesses will start to take the cubs towards the kills. So they will kill something, one of them will stay behind, the other one will go back, fetch the 2 cubs and take them to the kill, so that they can begin the process of weaning. Now, weaning, of course, is the process by which all mammals, and you did it as well, start to eat proper food, not just the milk that their mothers feed them. And Matthew, yes, absolutely it will. In fact, you won't even notice. When they do get better, their hair grows back, and by the time they're a bit older, you won't see that they've had mange, except become damaged. And on the other pride of lions that we watch, the ears are quite badly damaged, and one of them, who we now know as floppy ear, has got an ear that's flopped sideways, because it was so damaged by her scratching it all the time. Oh, it's a lovely afternoon out here, and like I say, it's quite hot. But slowly it's going to start getting cooler, and maybe these lions will go off at some stage and do a little bit of hunting. That would be great. But I think that's only going to happen when it gets dark. Lions like to hunt in the dark. They don't like to hunt in the middle of the day. Oh, I spotted one of the butterflies that Taylor was showing you the eggs of, but I'm afraid it's flown off. The African vagrant. It's gone away, I'm afraid. So let's just keep watching these lions. I think we're going to sit with them for a little while. And quite interesting, of course, Taylor is walking around on foot, isn't she, Brave? And she's got a very interesting plant to show you.
This is something, again, I'm having a childhood memory day today, because looking at this plant, and especially if you look at, of course, these things, you should know exactly what this plant is. This is called, the common name, of course, is a blackjack plant. And it was one of those plants, as a kid when I was walking around at school playing in between classes at break time, that would always get stuck on my socks, and I'd spend most of the day trying to pull them out, and they can be quite painful. Those little spurs, I suppose if you would like to call them, burrs, and they're not very fun. But as frustrating as this plant can be to somebody who's walking through an area and gets them stuck on their socks or on their pants, this plant is actually very, very important. There's quite a number of different species. There's about 240 different species of this blackjack plant or Biden plant. And they're very, very important because you can use them for a variety of different medicinal uses. So the whole plant has got antibacterial properties. You can make a very nice herbal tea from the leaves. and a variety of other different things. Now there are probably over 30 or 40 different uses for this plant, which is very exciting. I'm not sure of all of them, but there are loads and loads, and like I said, every single one will have a specific unique feature to them. And this one, they say you make a great tea with. So we're going to have to try this tea at some point. Maybe we'll have to wait till it gets a little bit bigger. It still looks like quite a young plant. They can get a bit taller and a little bit bushier. And I don't know if there's any little hohos. When I say hohos, I mean insects and things feasting upon the leaves. You see, I can just see a couple of little holes in them. Can you see that? So something has been feeding on it, but not too often. Maybe it was just a caterpillar coming past, having a munch, seeing if it liked the taste of the leaves or not, and then moved on. Because I must be honest, that looks like the only little hole in the leaf that I can find on this plant. So it can't be too tasty to the animals, though I'm sure an elephant, if it was absolutely desperate, would probably pull this plant up whole and eat the entire thing. Now, we're going to go down this way. We're going to check all of these bush willow trees and see if we can find anything inside here. But we've got to watch our step because there's lots of fallen logs and we don't want to stand on anything and get hurt or stand on a snake. So you'll see when I walk, always make sure I put one foot in front of the other and make sure I know exactly where I'm going. But you've also got to look up and look around you when you're out on foot too. It's very important that you don't just look on the ground because the buffalo and elephants and things will be up and in front of you. But we're going to go back across to Jamie and see what Karula is now up to. Come and look what is lurking in this bush, and this is what happens when you just stick your head in some trees. There is a bug of some sort. It is now crawling away. It's on a senna tree. Can you see it? There it goes. Oh no, sorry, it's now running away. It's very frightened of us. There it is. Can you see it? But it doesn't want to stay around for us. Now, I haven't had a good look at it because it keeps moving around and moving away from me. Let me see if I can get it to come back up the side. There we go. See, it doesn't like my fingers. But it looks like a stink bug of some sort. Now, stink bugs are terrible creatures because they have a really strong chemical defense. So that means that if I were to go too close and I were to even try and pick it up, or if I was a bird and I was going to try and eat it, it wouldn't be very happy with me. And it would release a horrible tasting and foul smelling secretion. And that would hopefully deter whatever was trying to eat it or me to sort of go away. Now, so what we're going to do now, I want to tell you a story about stink bugs. And I was living in Zambia for a short while. My goodness, coming into summer just before we had the rain, so not around sort of before October, at night, just as the sun set, you had to keep all the lights off in camp, every single one of them. Otherwise, the lights that attract all the insects, but they would attract the stink bugs. At that time of the year, the stink bugs were terrible, and they would come in the thousands. I'm not even exaggerating. One day, we laid out the beautiful dinner tables, white tablecloths, and the silverware, and all the different glasses on the table looked beautiful, candles, waiting for the guests to get back after their sunset safari. And we came back after checking all the rooms to make sure that there were little chocolates on everybody's pillows. And these bugs were everywhere. The table was black, completely black, and it was foul smelling. It was so foul smelling that we had to change the tablecloth and all the crockery and everything else that we had on the table because it was absolutely inedible. You couldn't touch anything. And I can't tell you how many times I've actually bitten into and swallowed a stink bug because they'll land into your food before you even know it, and you take a big mouthful and you hear crunch, and then you get the most horrible taste exploding into your mouth that you have to spit everything that you had right out straight away. So you don't want to eat stink bugs. They've got a real chemical defense for a reason. Oh, Herbie's got something for us. We got to keep moving towards Herbie. Watch your step here. And these nasty little broken off branches what happens is you stand on one and then your other foot kicks them back up to you. and then you can get a couple of nasty cuts on your leg. I don't know what Herbert has found. Let's see. Herbie, what you got? He always finds the most incredible things. Scorpion and a centipede. Thanks, Herbie. Come have a look here. I'm going to jump out of the sun. So there's the scorpion. And then can you see the centipede with its... Let's maybe do the centipede, I think, because that could disappear into its burrow. Look at those amazing colors. Now, they were hiding under a log that Herbert turned over for us. There it goes. See, I thought it was going to do just that. You can actually see it's about to come out the other side. Now, they don't also like the sun very much. You normally see them coming out at night and crawling around the termite mounds. And this is a beautiful species of centipede too, as beautiful as centipedes can be, because they got yellow and reds and all sorts of, and even if you look closely, a bit of blue on them too. But it's hiding away from us. It does not want to be seen. Now, you don't want to touch a centipede because they've got a nasty bite on them, and they've got a little bit of venom that can cause a bit of a problem as well. And now we've got the scorpion. This scorpion doesn't have a common name. And it's important that we know the scientific names of the plants and of the animals, is because sometimes you can get confused all over the world. Because all over, of course, sorry, right here, sorry about that. So apparently we're going to have to say a goodbye to all of the children at College Park Elementary, but you'll have to join in next time and we'll continue talking about this scorpion though. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed all the little creatures and the 2 different big cats that we got to see this afternoon. So I hope you have a fantastic morning, and maybe we see you tomorrow, I'm not sure, but have a good day anyway. But now back to our favorite scorpion, I've forgotten the name of it. Ostipicantha asper. There we go. That's the Latin name of the scorpion. And like I said, it's very important to know the Latin names of the different plants and animals, is because common names, well, there could be about 100 different things with the same common name, and it can be very, very confusing. So it's always good, even if to know the genus of whatever it may be that you're looking at. And we know this is actually quite a small Ostipicantha asper. You can see me put my finger next to it so you can see how small it is. Well, look at my hand. See how tiny it is. Probably not even the length of my thumb. Now it's just sitting there trying to keep out of the sun. Of course, we'll put the log back on top of it, but not a venomous one. Massive pincers, very good at burrowing, and of course, catching its prey. And I've even found, you can see there's also lots of termites moving around, but we'll get back to them. There's a cricket here. Can you see the cricket? You can see there's also a cricket that's been exposed. Now, I can't believe how much we found just under this one little log. Now, I don't like crickets. They're not my favorite thing. And they make lots and lots of noise. You can see on their legs they've got tiny little spines on them. And when they move, they rub their legs together, stridulating. They make that high-pitched squeal. Not a squeal, but a buzzing noise, I suppose you could call it. Now, you can ask any single guide about a story about a cricket, and I'm sure every single one of them will have a story to tell you. And they were always the worst, especially when I was down in the Eastern Cape working at one of the lodges on the river. We had thatched rooms. So you know that lovely thatching grass that we see out here? Well, it's not lovely. It's not a very nice grass to have. That's what you use to create the roofs. And those little crickets used to get all up in the thatch, and they'd start making that very high-pitched noise in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you could never go to sleep, and as soon as you turn the light on, they would disappear, and you could never find them again. But you can see the termites don't mind the scorpion too much. Laval, now you're wondering about this scorpion as it's sort of just sitting very quietly around the termites. The termites don't seem to be bothering it too much. Now it depends on the species of scorpion, of course. They all get to different lengths. Look at that ant has just picked up a termite and is now running away with it. Look at that. You can see the termite is still fighting. There's another ant. that is also fighting a termite. And often you'll see little, and I'm so sorry, Laval, I'll get back to your question now, often you'll see termites and ants living in harmony together. And then you get other types of ants like this little tiny ant, which could be a number of different species, has decided to raid. Look at them, they're all coming, they're raiding the small species of termites and they're taking them back to obviously feast upon them. But they're struggling, the termites aren't giving up too easily, they're fighting back. And it won't be too long before I think those ants will overpower those termites and we're able to take them back again. But they're all disappearing quickly because they know that the ants are here, they've sounded the alarm and they are racing away. But sorry, Laval, so termites, scorpions can get to a variety of different sizes. You can get some really, really big ones, you can get some small ones. The biggest one I think I've seen is one of the burrowing scorpions. Probably getting about that big or so probably about the length of my hand, but that's an exceptionally large one. It's not the big ones that you normally have to worry about. It's often the very small ones with the very small pincers and the very thick tails that you've got to be careful about, because they are of course the venomous ones. But let's carry on walking. I can hear Herbie. Let's check this. Oh, I'm very naughty. We want to put this back over it very gently. There we go. Now they've all got a bit of shelter. And I think a little bit later, once the sun sort of disappears, that scorpion will come out. And I'm actually sad I didn't bring my scorpion light with me, the one I got for Christmas. So we could have had a look at the UV reflection they have on their bodies, which is quite amazing. But I'm sure that scorpion will come out a bit later and search for some shongololos or millipedes. Now, I wonder where, Herbert, do you know where the word shongololo comes from? Why do we call them shongololos? Yes? Is that what you call a train? So that's quite interesting. I didn't know this. Herbert's just taught me something fantastic. He says where a millipede gets its name, the South African name shongololo, is because that's what you would call a train. And they look very much like trains with their little legs always moving in a long line, of course, like a train with lots of carriages. So that's why we call them shongololos. Very interesting. It's only taken me 5 years to find that out. Thanks, Herbert. That's very interesting. Let's see what else we can find as we dig amongst the shrubs. Wouldn't it be nice if we found a chameleon as we were poking our heads in between these bushes? Ooh, there's something. Is that an assassin? The bugs aren't enjoying me in this little tree. Don't prick me. There it is. What are you? I'm trying to get it for you. It's in here. It's on that. Can you see its little? You can see its antenna just poking up above the leaf. Can you see it, Rian? There, that leaf?
Behind that leaf.
Yes, you can just see its antenna. But it's bright red. And I'm just trying to get my face out of this branch. We're going to see if we can somehow bend this branch. There we go. Can you see how red it is? It's just on the branch, just behind the same leaf. Here it is. Isn't that an interesting little thing? Now, I can't see what its mouth part looks like, but you might be able to see a little bit better than I am. I've at the moment got a branch poking my throat as I'm trying to hold the branch nice and steady for you. So maybe you can send some screenshots through, #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv, and we'll have to try and identify this with the insect book a little bit later this evening or tomorrow after the sunrise drive. But that's an interesting one. If I look at it from the back very quickly, it looks like an assassin bug, maybe a millipede assassin, but I don't think so. If it makes sense, the whole exoskeleton doesn't look as soft as a assassin bug, of course, looks. It looks like it's more of a beetle of some sort, maybe a bug of some sort. Anyways, right here, you can see what I mean when I said I was in the trees trying to, of course, hold that branch nice and steady for you. But while I try and get out of this mess, let's go back across to James and the Styx&Cubs.
Now, this is the other Styx lioness, everybody. she's got, very easily identifiable by the rather pathetic pom-pom she has. You see that, David? Look at her tail. Ridiculous. A bit like the lion, one of the Birminghams who we termed Skinny Pom-Pom, much to the disgust of most of our viewers. Now, this one is not lactating, but the other two are lactating, and this one has taken a deep fancy to David, you can see. These lions have got something about them. They look manky. In other words, they are mangy. This one's got a skinny pom-pom. There's a look in their eyes that, one would expect to see in the eyes of a mugger coming down the street to take your telephone from you. And there's something about them that is just not quite as, I think executive as the lions of the Nkahuma Pride. These chaps just don't seem to have quite the same vibe. Oh, she thought she stood on a thorn there. Oh, or she's limping, one of the two. Now, Leandra, you're wondering how many lionesses are in the Styx Pride and how many are in the Nkahuma Pride. Well, there are 3 lionesses in the Styx Pride, Leandri. Let me move back a bit for you, Darby. And there are 5 in the Nkahuma Pride. The Nkahuma Pride lionesses, well, they've just got a sort of, I'm going to hesitate to say royal feeling about them. I don't think so. For me, they're much more like the sort of the rich gang, if you like. The wives and offspring of the Corleones or something like that, whereas the Styx Pride, well, they belong to a fairly low-life street gang, I feel. Now, of course, I'm being deeply unkind. It's just an interesting way of looking at it, because the lions have a totally different vibe about them. They're scrappers, these chaps, the Styx. You just move into position here so we can have a look at her approaching, hopefully, the others. I'll try and get us into such a position, David, to give you a 3-shot. How's that? Very nice. I must just apologise again while we wait to see what happens here during that crash cut, a technical difficulty with Jamie. I seem to be trying to attempt a Mumbai accent, and I had no idea we were live, so I do apologise for that. I don't know why she's gone around the other side. Maybe she's stalking the Juma vehicle. I'm joking, of course. She's just looking for shade. Now, we were just chatting earlier about these cubs and whether or not they still have mange. And they look mangy, but they're not scratching. And remember, that was the first thing we noticed about the Nkahuma cubs when they started to get over their mange. We noticed that they'd stopped scratching. And I think this means that these chaps are probably going to survive, unlike their 8 siblings who all unfortunately passed with the wind and with the passing of the dreadful drought. The mange that caused the lack of nutrition, I think that made them able to cope with the mange, has passed as well, and so I think that these chaps are probably going to be alright. That said, look at those hips. They're looking skinny. They're not looking very. Push this far north into their territories. This is right at the northern extremity of their territory. They used to go off to Treehouse Dam quite often. That's sort of parallel with this. And the Nkahumas sometimes go that far south, but very seldom. So they're right on the boundary. And I think these are both little lionesses, if I'm not mistaken. And I'd also like to know from you, perhaps you have a better idea. I think that one of these cubs is from one lioness and one is from the other, because they're both lactating. They're definitely both lactating, and so maybe they lost little siblings very early on. Either that, or one of these lionesses has got some cubs stashed away somewhere, which is quite possible. Oh, beautiful in the background. I can hear the southern boo-boo calling. Jackie, you're wondering what the gender of these cubs are? I'm pretty sure they're two lionesses. I'm pretty sure that they're both little lionesses. I've looked at both of them behind their tails. In fact, there's one there. Yeah, that looks like a little lioness, I think. It's difficult to tell sometimes at this age. One of them's definitely a lioness. That one, I think... Get up, little cub. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a lioness. Now, they may well head off into the thick bush down the drainage. We'll try and follow them, but if we can't, we've had a wonderful view, and we might press on and see what else we can find. Twitching there in the back leg, twitch, twitch. I don't think that's anything other than a scratch. Well, Aaron, yes, I suppose it probably does, you say, but maybe not in the way you think. You say that if a lion is born to a mother with mange, does that automatically mean the cub will have age? It does, simply because they're not born with mange, but it means that their skin contact, of course they have huge amounts of skin contact with their mothers, will result in the cubs getting mange almost immediately. That lioness got a horrible fright when her cub got up and broke a stick next to her. How irritated she looks. She also has a totally different look to those Nkuhuma lionesses. They've got something kind of almost sinister behind their eyes. Do you agree, Dave? Yeah. David agrees. Something sinister about these low-level gangsters that we have here. Oh... Very nice. You see what I mean, everyone? Their eyes have got a kind of milkiness about them that I think is quite terrifying. Those teeth are equally terrifying, but no more so than they are on the Nkuhuma Pride. Alright, we'll just try one last move. I'm going to wait. There's somebody else actually moving into the sighting. I'm going to let them move first, so we'll just stay with this lioness for now. In case you are a new viewer, we are in an area that has obviously quite a lot of tourism and some private landowners, and so we're in constant radio contact with all of them, and it's never more than 3 vehicles at a sighting. Well, it's not supposed to be at a time, and that's certainly been the case here. Oh, she's very tired, isn't she? And so when I say someone else is moving into the sighting, what I mean is a vehicle full of guests that are staying at one of these lodges. I think let's have one more look at the little cubs. And in the meantime, while we get into position, let's head across to Taylor and find out how her dainty feet are doing in the clearings of quarantine.
We are looking at a marula tree at the moment, and what I'm doing is I've now put my tool back, but I shall open it again. I'm looking for spiders. Oh, must be careful with a knife so you don't hurt yourself. But with this marula bark, as we know how lovely and fissured it is that sometimes there's little bits that are lifted away, and like we saw with the skinks, it makes for nice little hiding spots. And I found a sack spider in a crevice before on a marula tree, and then it hid away, so that's what I'm sort of looking for. We don't see too many sack spiders out here. I used to see them all over the place, and they were constantly biting people. They like to bite my brother. My brother's, my youngest brother, is a sack spider whisperer. He's the only person that will get bitten at least once a week by one. Hang on, here we go. This looks like a sack spider nest, or a web. Can you see that? And that's one of the reasons why they're called sack spiders, is because often they make their webs on curtains or flat surfaces, and it looks just like that, like a white papery sack. This is not a great one. I think it might have been an old one. It doesn't look like it's inhabited anymore. Let's just pull it back a little bit further away. No. I think what once was living here is no longer living here anymore. Let's keep searching though, and this is what happens when you're out here. You have to look for all of these things, and it's not always that you find something right there and then. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and you've got to do a bit of digging, and that's what you're going to do with me now. Is you're going to see the whole sort of process of finding little creatures to look at. It means turning over bits of bark, staring blankly into a tree like this until you find something. And I promise you, you can stare for hours and hours at a plant and you won't see anything. And then all of a sudden, something will grab your attention and come into focus. But not on this tree. Nothing on here, so we have to keep going. We'll put my knife away so I don't hurt myself. You know how accident prone I am. Now, Jamie was telling me something very interesting this morning. She said that, or it could have been last night, I think it was last night on the Sunset Drive, that she was looking at a silver cluster leaf under the microscope and she saw little red mites. Now, she said that you couldn't really see them with the naked eye, but I found that exceptionally interesting, and I wonder what type of mite is parasitizing, that's the word I'm looking for, is having a go at this tree. Because you see obviously all these little holes in the leaves from some type of a caterpillar that has been feasting upon it. I know that the African migrant actually also apparently feeds on the silver cluster leaves, so I'd probably prefer to eat a senna than these very, very bitter leaves. But I wonder what mite it would be. I've been also seeing a lot of scale insects. Maybe we'll try and find some scale insects. They've been on a couple of the acacias, so we'll have to have a look for them because they're quite interesting. Though they're more interesting to look under the microscope with, because they're funny looking creatures. And if you want, you can check on the interweb for scale creatures. Hang on, I found something here. Don't bite me, ants. Don't bite me. Is this what Jamie was talking about? No. Can you see those little things on the edge of the leaves? I thought those were mites, but they're not. They look like little beetle eggs. You can see them just sitting there, or maybe a caterpillar egg. And we've actually looked at these eggs before. I think I found them it was with James. I'm trying to remember what tree it was on. But they are, you can't see it now, but when we put them under the microscope, they've actually got like little spines coming off the side, and not sharp spines, but just little grooves. They're quite pretty. Actually, I'm trying to remember how you describe them. And I think we decided that they were beetle eggs of some sort. Rightio, we're going to keep poking our heads around like we've been doing in all the trees to see what types of little critters we can find. I'm going to try and look for some scale insects to show you. I might actually have to go back to camp to go and get some for you because they're plaguing the little acacia growing outside my room. But it seems as though Jamie's back and sorted and she's ready to give you an update on what's been happening.
Yay! We are back out once again on our safari. Zander, shall we try this again one more time with feeling? Yes, we shall. Shall we go and find Karula? Yes, we shall. Are we excited? Yes, we are. The way that my afternoon started off was I said to Zander, hey, look at that really cute baby impala. That's a cute baby impala. I wonder if it will stay for the start of show. And Eggsy went, leopard! And then the baby impala was gone. So it all happened very, very, very quickly. And of course, there's always that moment where we panic. And we've got 3 different radio. Apparently my mic is making funny noises. Please don't make funny noises, Mike. Just stay. How are we doing, Eggsy? Does it sound okay on your side? Is okay on our side. So Jigger seems to be having problems. Alright, we better send you over to James, find out what's happening there.
So we're here, of course, with the Styx Pride and their little babies. And, sorry, just hang on 1 second. I just want to help Aubrey quickly. Orbs, are you trying to come to the sighting of Styx? Oh, no, it's okay. I thought he was trying to come here. Now, let's just look carefully. I want to look at all three of them. Dave, we go between the hind legs of the back one there. The far left, sorry. Now, she, to me, looks like she's lactating as well, which is quite interesting. And then if we go to the next one along, she too looks like she's might be lactating, maybe not. There are no suckle marks though. They've just got very distended kind of teeth, so maybe she isn't lactating. She's probably just got swollen teats, which might mean that she's pregnant. Who knows? Right, I'm getting reports of elephants not too far from here, so if it's all right with you, everybody, I haven't seen an elephant for, well, a long time. I'm not sure I remember what one looks like. It's the first big game sighting David and I have had since he spotted the crocodile some time back, and so I'd like to go and see some elephants. Shall we go and see some elephants? Let's go and see some elephants. We might come back to these lions a little bit later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Ooh, I'm going to hurt a tree. We're right there, Dave. It's a bit tight, but we made it on account of the fact that we're in such a tiny, tiny little car. Okay, now I can talk with my normal beefy voice as opposed to my whispering voice as I hit a large tree. Whoops-a-daisies. I'm just waving at James Sewello, who was tracking with us today. Right, on we go. Not too far from here. Tally-ho, as it were. Good. Now, they're heading towards Biffleshoek Dam, apparently, these elephants, but they're not too far from where we are now. So maybe we'll pick them up on the way there. And I do hope so, because, like I say, David and my luck has not been from the top drawer of late. Jamie had, well, she's used up all her luck for the rest of her life, I would have thought, this afternoon. Taylor's had about 78 buffalo and lion encounters in the last 2 months. David and I have had the tent, and our most sort of dangerous sighting, or sort of blood-curdling sighting, I suppose, was when we found a snake in the electrical box next to the tent. It was a brown house snake, so it didn't attack us at all. In fact, it went away. That was about as much big game as we've seen in the last little while. But of course, the snake can be terrifying. Oh, Tanis, this is a very easy question to answer. You say, what country, unfortunately you ended it with a proviso. You said, what is the best country in Africa to go on safari in, apart from South Africa? Well, it depends what you want. The most beautiful I've seen so far has got to be Kenya, the Mara, and into the Serengeti. And that's because it's out of Africa, you know, it's the quintessential African shots of huge clearings, giant herds of wildebeest, the great Mara River and the wildebeest trying to cross the river. They've got a huge diversity of antelope and gazelle there. So I think, and the views everywhere, I think that's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. But Botswana is fantastic. Brent, I think, would take you to Botswana in a heartbeat if you gave him half a chance. He thinks that's beautiful. The Okavango is astounding because it's filled with water half the time of the year, and so you're water-based. You're on makoros, dugout canoes, and on boats, and you see plenty of elephants and hippos and all sorts of interesting things. I mean, you get the full range of species there as well. If you're really brave, I would go up into the Central African Republic to, I've forgotten what the park is called there, but it's an up-and-coming sort of national park there. They've got an astounding herds of wildlife, beautiful topography. If you're really brave, you might go into Gorongosa in Mozambique, where these giant, unspeakably massive granitic outcrops kind of impose themselves, I guess, on the landscape and allow you to look distances that you can't imagine, even believe. So, you know, it really does depend on what you want to see. If you want to go for a concentration of animals, Kenya and Tanzania. If you want diversity of landscape and birds, Botswana, maybe the Okavango Delta. If you want just scenery with a few animals dotted around, Namibia is utterly stunning. If you want the primates, the gorillas and the chimpanzees, well, then you'll go to, well, any of the Central African republics. So you might go to the Congo if you were feeling extremely brave. Slightly stupid as well, but you could go to Rwanda and see amazing gorilla and amazing chimpanzee action. You might go to Gabon. So it really does depend what you want to see. Okay, Jamie is back on site with the kill, and I think the cats are perhaps about to arrive.
Oh, that is exactly what I'm hoping for, James. I'm very much hoping that Queen Karula and her progeny decide to return to the site of the kill, but unfortunately, no sign of satisfied cats anywhere. Karula's given us the slip. Apparently, she was calling when she started to disappear into the thicket. Rexon said that he could hear her chuffing for the cubs, so they make a sort of an almost frog-like croak. I'm not going to do it because apparently I am the worst leopard impressionist in the world, I have been told on numerous occasions, so I'm not going to try and imitate the female leopard's chuff, but she was chuffing to the cubs all along, just towards the dried up riverbed that we call the Mulwati drainage line. No sign of her. Rexon, Aubrey and myself have been scouring the area and she seems to have vanished, so we'll sit here for another 30 odd seconds to see what we can see, and if there's no sign of her, then she's gone to fetch the cubs. Look, she might be really, really hot and exhausted, and she just needed to actually lie down and recover herself after that hunt. She's done all the important things. She's put the impala in the tree, so nothing's going to get it. So there is, for her, no rush. And as we've seen before with Karula, she, or at least with her two cubs at the moment, they do have a tendency to go for a little bit of a stroll, don't they? They tend to take themselves off on a little bit of a walk, which means that Karula, when she tries to find them, has to go and weave in and out of the bushes and search for them. So hopefully she's managed to find them. There's one other option, and that's that she made another kill somewhere in here. So I'm going to go and do a loop round and then come back here. I'm going to do another loop and come back here. While I do, Taylor has found something else predatory.
We've got a very small brown praying mantis that's trying to hide away from us on a small plant. All the insects don't seem to be impressed by me today and are trying to rush away. But it's so nice to see the abundance of praying mantis around at the moment, because at one point we were finding a lot of their oothicas, so that's the sort of egg of a praying mantis, and once that hatches it will release, well, probably hundreds of little praying mantis nymphs. So it's nice to see not just the tiny small ones anymore, but to see medium-sized ones and then of course very large ones. So we know that there are a couple of them that are making it through and is surviving almost towards adulthood, in fact, and I suspect that it's hiding away underneath this shrub quite close to the ground, waiting for some unsuspecting insect to come through. Right, we've got something else here to show you, Rhiannon. I know Rhiannon needs to now try and stand up. There we go. Ah, well done. You did that very nicely. Very elegantly. But have a look at all of these wings that we've got down on the ground. Well, we're going to play a game. Whose wings do these belong to? It shouldn't be a difficult quiz, but I'd love to hear your answers. So hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or send them through to questions@wildearth.tv. And let's see who gets the answer to this quiz. Oh, look what I found over here. You see, all of the most random things capture my attention out here. And I don't know how I managed to spot this, but look at what's crawling. I've got you. No, I don't have you anymore. Come here. I'm going to pick it up. I don't want it to bite me, though. Rian, you're going to have to get it on the ground. Can you see the big bontic?
I see it.
See that grass? So I'm trying to squash. Shoo, it's racing away. No, don't race away. There it is. It's going to climb up the grass. Let's see if it comes out for a better view. It's running away from me. Let me put it on a stick. But it's a very clever tick. Sure, you are so quick. Gotcha. No. It released itself. Don't. Just come. We want to see you. No, it does not want to. Rian, you're going to have to get it down. It's the fastest. Can you see it? Look at it go. Have you ever seen a tick move that quickly before? Normally I didn't think that they were that nimble, but off it goes under the grass, not hanging around for very long. But that's the bont tick. So that is the tick that can give you tick bite fever, and it's not one that you want to bite you. And also to take a bont tick off if it has bitten you is quite a challenge. It's not fun to try and pull one of those off. Right, and hopefully you've all sent your answers through, but I've got something else to show you. We're going to do a little bit of a walk, though, through this silver cluster leaf forest. Let's... no one's got the answers right. You should be able to guess that very, very easily as to who those wings belong to. This is a silver cluster leaf tree. It's quite a nice big one. And you can see... Oh. Hello, Janet. Well done, Janet. You guessed correctly. You said, are they flying ants? They are indeed flying ants, or also known as alates, and it's specifically from this very small species of termite that hopefully we'll be able to show you now. Let's see. Where are you? This is, of course, a very thin, sort of temporary material that they've put up on this silver cluster leaf tree that allows them to work during the day. That is not a termite, or there is a termite, but there are ants that are now feasting on it. So hopefully we'll find some more termites too, because I'd like to try and take a closer look. So we're going to go and look for a nice big termite mound. But Jamie has moved away from Karula, and she's found some little piglets in a mud wallow.
I found some adorable baby warthogs going for their very first swim. Now, I don't want to startle them. They're hidden behind this log, going for their very first mud wallow in the muddy waters, the muddy puddles. You can just see the little ones there at the back. I'm too scared to say to Zander, look how cute these baby warthogs are, just in case Karula comes shooting out of the bushes and catches one of these too. In which case I'm going to start feeling a little bit like the safari guide of death for baby animals. So I'm definitely not going to take that chance. They are very, very sweet. Here comes Mom. Now they're going to come behind her. There they come. Hello, Mommy. It's all right. It's okay. She's going to lead them right past us. Here come 4 little piggies. It's okay. It's all right. Don't panic. Don't panic. It's okay. Tot, 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 tot. Oh, little sausages. They are so, so sweet. Trot, trot, trot. All 4 tiny little piglets. So we've only just recently seen the brand new baby warthogs. If I start the vehicle now, they're going to disappear. So Eggsy's doing an amazing job of contorting himself to get behind the vehicle. And there they go. All 4 tiny baby piglets, only a few weeks old. It is warthog breeding season, although I have to say the warthog piglets were a little bit late this year. Don't panic, little ones. Cutting down the road, be careful, there's a leopard somewhere here. Okay, they're far enough away that I can start the vehicle, turn us around, and hopefully we can have another look at them. Okay, don't run away, little pigs. I love baby warthogs. They are so, so adorable. They would definitely also be a bite-sized snack for Karula, and she is somewhere in this area, so I'm going to stick with these warthogs a little bit longer. Not that I really want to see the death of another small animal this afternoon. As James has said, I've used up my luck. But you never know. Okay. Oh, don't panic, little ones. Luckily, Mom is quite relaxed, and they're going to take their behavioral cues from her. Now, all baby animals out here are naturally afraid of most things, and then they look to their parents to teach them how to respond to different stimuli, which makes sense. Better safe than sorry. Here we go. Hello, little things on your... Oopsie! Oh, feisty. Having a little scrap there between siblings. Seems as though some of them were brave enough to go into the water a little bit and some of them weren't. I can only see one that's actually got a little bit wet. Proper dominance display there from one of the little males. There's 2 little males in this litter. 3 little males in this litter. Might even be a 4th. Hey, Mom. You've got 3 boys, at least 3 boys on your hands. Good luck to you. Gosh, Thunder, if she'd been walking down this road an hour earlier, it might not have been the impala that got caught. This is exactly where Karula caught that baby impala. Such a strange thought how life and death can be based on something so random. Just a choice to walk down the wrong road at the wrong time. Little snuffly thing, you're on your elbows, but you're not going to find anything in the middle of the road, I have to tell you. Watch your mom, she knows better. Oh, James, absolutely. The warthogs are looking so much healthier. And for our newer viewers, we have been in the grips of the most terrible drought, the worst drought supposedly in the last 100 years in this area. And we have had rain that the vegetation needs to recover. I mean, the dams haven't fully filled up yet, or the water holes, but we have had at least enough rain for the grass to be green. And the warthogs were the ones, along with the buffalo and the elephants, that seemed to be struggling the most. And we had some really thin-looking warthogs. Mommy, you've taken a very dangerous path with your little piggies. Where are you going to go? Where did she go? She's going straight towards Karula's kill. Oh. There we go. 4 little piggies in the road. The 5th one went to market. Sorry, that was lame. So sorry. Right. 1 little male on the left, 1 little female in the middle, and 1 little male on the right. And you can tell by the number of warts. The little male piglets have 4 warts, 2 sets, and the females only have 2. Oh, catch up with Mom! Quick! Panic, Mom, where'd you go? Mom is leading you down a very, very dangerous path, little ones. You don't know yet. Now, I've got to be very, very careful here. We cannot affect the situation in any way. There is a chance Karula's come back. She might have heard them, and she could be sitting in that kill. And if she sees those baby warthogs, I would say there's a very high chance that she's going to try and hunt them. And the track that they've just taken... Oh, wait, hold on. We're all going out this way again. Back onto the road. You silly little munchkins. Hello. James, isn't it wonderful that the warthogs have managed to survive this drought? Yes, Mum. That's a much safer path to lead your little piglets down. Not that I don't want Karula to have more lunch, but if she leads them that way, there's a very good chance one of these little piglets will become Karula's lunch. But James, it is wonderful to see that the warthogs are looking better and that they still managed to carry babies or litters of what do you call baby pigs again? Piglets, to full term. I've never seen little baby warthogs scrap like this. And Tafaraj wants to know a very good question, and one that we probably don't touch upon often enough. You want to know, why do the carnivores habituate to the presence of vehicles, but the herbivores not so much? And the answer is quite simply that we spend more time with the individual carnivores than we do with the number of herbivores. So there's always more herbivores in an ecosystem. We chatted a little bit about that. I think it was yesterday on the Sunset Safari. Now, don't panic your mom, you silly goof. Torn between running away and scrapping with each other. There's always more herbivores, and of course the carnivores, in terms of the big cats, when you take guests on safari, you're guaranteed at some point they will see zebra, they will see warthog, they will see. You generally don't spend as much time with them as you might with a carnivore, big cat. People come to South Africa to see big cats, or tourists, not just, but that's one of the things that they like to see. Okay, very good point, James. I shall narrowly dodge the baby warthog tracks I was about to drive over. We'll come back and have a look at them in a moment. And then we can have a look at what they look like. This little sounder, though, is about to disappear off. So a lot more time and a lot more attention has been invested in habituating the big cats to vehicles than the more herbivorous animals. But you can see Mom is quite relaxed with us. It's the babies that are causing mass panic here, which is good. They should be scared of everything. Rather be scared and learn later than not be scared and not learn at all. Because, well, I don't think I need to finish that sentence. Oh, that's so pretty, Zander. Isn't that gorgeous in the grasses? I know, shame, sorry. It is right into the sun, but if I shift around too much, they are all going to vanish into a cloud of panicked warthog. Tails everywhere. Hello, Mum. Well done. She's quite a young sow, I think, judging by the size of her tusks, so she's done well. This might even be her first litter of little piglets. And unbeknownst to her, turning left instead of turning right could ultimately mean the difference between her piglets living another day. Trot, 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 trot. They are so sweet. Okay, hoping nobody's going to come along and burn my baby warthog tracks. One last view, because they're being so cooperative with us. And all of this, backwards and forwards, letting the engine run for a little bit, moving forward slowly, not driving directly at them. This in turn will eventually, the little babies will become relaxed to the vehicle in the same way that their mom is, because they'll learn that we're not a threat. Karula's cubs in the beginning were a little bit cautious of our vehicles, and they learned from the behavior of their mom that we were not a threat to them at all. And we were very patient in the beginning, stopping far away, letting them come to us. And the process would be exactly the same if we were to go about trying to get these little piglets used to us as well. Fresh green grass, tiny baby piglets. I'm too scared to call them cute, in case they die. But they are sweet. Sure. Little Mom? Not so little Mom, actually. Young Mom, you have no idea, you really don't, how close you came to potential problems there. I'm also saying that hopefully in the hope that Karula's returned again to that kill. Cute. Standing by, Johan? Welcome back. Last visual, she was going east along that Shkova that runs along Jigga Jigga Road towards Twin Dams. She's got a kill here. Best access is probably from Weaver's Nest itself. My off-road tracks are quite clear. I've been back to check on the kill, no sign of her. And they're gone. very sweet. We go from probably one of the supposedly ugliest creatures in the bush to one of the most beautiful. Let's go and have a look at James's bird.
Woodland kingfisher. Well done, David. That was very nicely done, most artistic and yet speedy at the same time. Not for you, the swirling slow brush stroke. Oh no. Woodland kingfisher shaking its feathers out because it's swimming. Now, we've been waiting here watching it have swims. It's quite amusing to watch. And David asked me a very good question. He said, why is it not sitting next to the water? Why is it diving down into the water and back out again and sitting in the tree and doing its preening? And I said to him, I thought that the answer was probably because it was very vulnerable on the ground. Whereas in that tree it's a bit more protected. So I think that's going to remain my answer. One of the most beautiful, as Jamie said, I suppose it must be, yes. It is a bit like the roller, it's common, but it is definitely one of the most magnificent that we get here. Gorgeous bird. For a little while, and see if it doesn't come back into the water to have a bit of a swim. And then, while we do that, I must just address the fact that Jamie said that she hoped one of those little warthogs would become a snack for Karula. I thought that was the most ungracious thing I've ever heard Jamie Patterson say. If one of those little sausages gets nailed by Karula tonight, I shall have words with Pyjamas Patterson. Oh, there's another one, Davy. Off to the left. I think that one's more likely to have a swim, given that it hasn't had one yet. Look at it opening its wings out. Such a pure snowy white, those feathers, aren't they? With a bright, bright red, chilly red at the top mandible. Now swim, bird. You're a... Oh. Very nice. Giving us a bit of a call there. Chip purr, chip... Oh, here it goes. No, it's gone. The drongos are swimming. Let's go down to the water surface, Dave. Now they've all gone. A couple of swallows too. Oh, red-chested swallow coming in. Now Connor tried to follow one of those things in his drone yesterday, and I said to him, Connor, you do know, of course, that a swallow is able to pull more G's than an F-16 pilot. And he looked at me blankly. So I slapped him upside the head and said, pay attention, man. Then he woke up, and I repeated myself, and he looked astounded, because he's very interested in aeroplanes, so he knows how many G's an F-16 and Connor is sitting in the final control. Now there we go. Bam. Well done. Beautiful. Oh, that's stunning. Isn't that cool? Connor says that he does have footage of the swallows. Oh, that's gorgeous. Let's see if he does it again. It's so peaceful here at Beethelshoek Dam. Well, Sydney, basically any carnivorous bird that's bigger than it. So something like from anything from a little sparrowhawk to even a pearl-spotted owl I've seen carrying actually, well, not a woodland, but a brown-hooded kingfisher, which is even slightly bigger than this one. Little pearl-spotted owl managed to catch one, all the way up to something like a gabar goshawk or a dark-chanting goshawk. What else would there be? A Vambo sparrowhawk, I suppose. So all the accipiters, all those predatory birds, the hawks that would take other birds, they'd fall prey to them. And then, of course, they'd fall prey to land-based predators like, I suppose, genets and African wildcats. I mean, leopards would certainly eat one of them if they could. And then at the water's edge, I suppose there must be a certain fear of terrapins. Terrapins do actually grab birds from time to time when they're standing by the side of the water, especially doves. Yep, here we go. Oh, David, that wasn't quite as good as the first one. But he did give you a very difficult angle. He waited for you to super zoom in on him, didn't he? Nasty bird. Alright, apparently we are heading across to Taylor. She is still on foot. We're going to head down towards Chitwa Dam, I think, which is, well, it's fuller than this one.
Hopefully you find a couple of hippos there and maybe even a crocodile. Just joking about the crocodile, I mean a crocodile. So earlier we were chatting about termites and I was trying to find you some termites that were hiding behind their sort of temporary structure, and you can see them all slowly starting to come out now because the African sun, well, it's starting to disappear behind the horizon, so it's not as strong as what it was. And we know that termites have got exceptionally sensitive exoskeletons and they can burn quite easily. So that's why they hide around. But it's quite interesting. It looks like they are feasting away on this marula tree. So you probably find if an elephant came and pushed it over, there'd be quite a lot of damage. You can see, look how they've started hollowing it out. You see that? Which is not very good. So next time an elephant is perhaps shaking this tree to get the marulas out of it, you'd want to maybe stand clear because it could topple over you. We've got Here's Herbert again. We've got a couple of different... Woo! That was a spiky plant that caught my leg. We've got some more termites down over here for you, some different ones that are, well... We'll have a closer look and you'll know exactly what they're doing. Let me stand out of the light. But look at them, very busy on the ground, working all day long. And of course, these are the harvester termites. Can you see that fly just a little bit further back? It's sitting in and amongst the termites. Can you see it there? Sorry, Rihanna. I don't want to go and chase it away. But it's quite interesting. Every now and then it's sort of going up to a termite and touching it. I just saw it do it now. Now, I don't know what it would be doing. It doesn't look like a robber fly or anything along those lines, so do you see that? Well, chase them. It looks like the termites are actually chasing the fly, saying, get out of our pathway, we're trying to work here. And I don't think it would be eating the termites. But look, you see? That's so interesting. Now, the Diptera genus, obviously there's so many different types of flies out there. I'm also not 100% sure which this one is, but it doesn't look, it's a bit nervous. Like I said, it doesn't look like a robber fly, so I don't know if it's going to eat the termites or what it wants to do with them. But either way, it's being very cautious. It looks like it's planning an attack, and then the termites turn around and sort of fight back and say, hey, you get a move on. But even though this fly is perhaps planning on predating on one of them, it's not letting them stop their workflow. They are very busy collecting all their bits of grass, which they will eventually, of course... Oh, no, let's see. Come on. I'd love to see what it's going to do, but it's a bit nervous. Come on, fly, make your move. Here we go. Herbert, what's going on? But you can see they're also not too bothered by the fly. They sort of move past it, and, well, then if it's in its way, they sort of push it around. But it's being very, very cautious. And that's something we didn't see is also when we saw the ants carrying the termites around. Oh, it's got one. We saw a kill. It caught a termite. That is amazing. Now, I don't know why the other termites aren't coming to help it, and that was just exactly what I was just about to say. Here it is, right here. It's eating it. There you go. It's just flown back. Just over there. That is incredible. I didn't think that that was going to happen. Did it drop it? It's dropped it. It's going to have to go for another one. It looks like it's built up a bit more confidence now. But it went for a relatively small one. It's not going for these bigger sort of soul. Let's see, there's another small one coming. This is so fascinating. I've never seen a fly catch a termite before. That must be a new experience for a lot of you, I'm sure. I mean, we sit, and how many times have we all of the guides out here, we've shown you a number of different types of termites. And I don't know, maybe Steph has seen, maybe James, even Brent, or even Jamie, maybe they've seen something like this, but that is so interesting. Oh my goodness. Right, wasn't that fascinating? Now, it caught that termite and then let it go. Now, Michael, hello to you. Wondering what is the normal lifespan of a termite? It depends. Let me help real out there. It depends on what their role is. If you are a worker, if you're a soldier, typically your lifespan is not much longer than about 2 weeks. It's very short-lived. But then if you get to something like a queen, you can live for many, many years, up to even 50 years. There's been some that are recorded. And actually, this mound that you can see just off in the distance, it's not a particularly big one, is the mound of the large fungus growing termites. For a moment there I was going to say harvester termites again, and they typically live for quite a long time. So somewhere deep down in that mound is the queen, and she can get quite big, and she'll be living in there controlling that entire mound, laying thousands and thousands of eggs, almost tens of thousands of eggs every single day, just to keep up with, well, you saw what that fly just did. That fly just caught a termite, and you know there's lots of flies out here, so who knows how many termites a fly could eat and catch her, but that queen has got to keep producing either workers and the soldier eggs. But let's see if we can find any more wings from the alates, because last night after we left you and we with Shongile on we saw Shongile, she was sitting on the termite mound. We started to see a couple more alates being released from the mound, which was really quite interesting. So I thought that they'd finished a few days ago. So maybe we get lucky and we find a couple of wings that have been left behind from something that has eaten them. Now apparently James has never seen that before, but Jamie has seen that, so that'll be quite interesting. Next time you see Jamie, hopefully she'll be able to follow up on something like that and sort of share her experience on the fly that catches termites. But I can imagine that's going to bring about some very interesting dinner conversation. Woo! And unfortunately there's no wings. Herbie, can you see any wings? I can't. We'll have to go back to where we saw at that base of the tree where we saw all those wings. I suspect a whole lot of them must have died there. Maybe something was there feasting upon them. Lizards, although a lizard would eat the wings, they wouldn't really spit those wings out. We'll have to go back there. I can't believe there's not one wing here after the amount of termites that exploded from, of course, these mounds. Oh, hang on, here's a fresh... Here we've got a recent reconstruction. You can see it's very, very brittle. But no wings, no termites, just lots and lots of hot air. And I also had such an amazing experience the other morning with David, where just before we ended the show, we found that squirrel that was sitting up on the termite mound on the cloudy morning, and I'm pretty sure it must have been warming its bottom, sitting there in all that hot air. And if you've never ever felt the air coming out of a termite mound, next time do yourself a favor, find a termite mound that's got a nice big open chimney, and make sure there's no snakes or anything sitting inside. You've got to be, of course, safe. And then put your hand on there, maybe even stick it in a little bit further, and you'll feel all that hot air. Now, scientists believe that termites contribute to about 150,000 tons of methane gas every single year. This is obviously a worldwide statistic, and that's all that methane gas coming off of the fungus that they are growing below the ground, which is very, very interesting. Let's have a look over here. Oh, here we go. We've got a grasshopper. Just sitting over there. Now, Rob, you were actually wondering how many termites would you find in a mound like the one we just looked at? Millions. Millions and millions and millions of termites. It would be quite difficult, I think, to try and count them all. But there are a whole lot. Now, of course, we have these lovely grasshoppers, but Herbert has caught my attention and he's telling us to come around the corner. So we're going to quickly race around. I'm running. Not really running, I'm just shuffling my feet. What you got, Herbie? What you got? What is it? Oh, whip scorpion. Come look here, this is cool. The last time I found, well, we saw one of these, well done Herbie, you get a high five, was on the Mara drives. Remember we did those cool night drives? Come and have a look at this. Look here. Can you even see it? Rian, this is going to be a hard one. Let me get a piece of grass. Look there. You see it?
I see it.
How crazy is that? That is a tailless whip scorpion. And really, we haven't seen one for a very, very long time. And a daddy long legs. Look here, with an egg sac. Herbie, This is like a gold mine for a guy, this piece of log that you found. And now these whip scorpions, as you can see, they actually feed on termites. So I suspect that's why it's underneath here, trying to feast upon some of these little termites that are moving around. But look at these long sort of legs. Oh, man, I'm nervous of them. I know they can't do anything and they're completely harmless, but you know, I can be a bit of a sissy sometimes. Now, feeling around for one of those termites. Is that a bit better, Louise? There we go. Sorry about that. Gremlin's trying to jump aboard the backpack as we look at this very interesting thing. But look how it walks. It's very cautious. It sort of moves more like a crab than anything. Don't you think? It doesn't really look very spider-like to me. It doesn't look very scorpion-like. See how it's feeling for some... And I'm hoping we're going to see it ambush and capture one of these termites, because that would be absolutely amazing. Isn't this so incredible? Now this thing is tiny. I don't want to go too close because it's a bit nervous. It keeps running even when I put my blade of grass near it. But its body is probably the size of your, maybe even smaller than your smallest fingernail, even tinier than that. But it's got very long legs. And I reckon in total, I don't even know, how big would you say that is, Rian? It's tiny. Look here. Look how small it is compared to my hand. It's minute. But that is just absolutely about the size of, but its legs are quite long. Look how long its legs come out. Isn't that amazing for such a small creature? It's got these big little feeling antennas. It's looking for something to feed on. You're missing all the termites. Now, I don't know how well their eyesight is. And I wonder if that's why they use their feelers to feel around. But isn't that amazing? And off it goes again now, hiding behind a piece of bark. Well, that is just fantastic and so fascinating. So nice to see them. And I think Louise said Jamie, the queen of dwarf mongoose, has got some dwarf mongoose.
I had past tense. This is some dwarf mongoose. Now, it sounds as though Taylor has found all... Sorry, I'm distracted by the dwarf mongoose that's just popped up behind us. Don't disappear. It sounds like Taylor has had some amazing things on her bushwalk, and certainly things that our little dwarf mongoose would be very, very keen on eating. This one's looking for the rest of its group. Now, I've been having a long conversation, haven't I, Eggsy, with the dwarf mongoose, making silly noises at them, and them watching me, I suppose, probably thinking, what on earth is this? What's it seen in there? Oh, hold on. Is there a snake in there? Look at this. Look at the way it's lunging and then backing up. What did you find in there, little one? Okay, let me just stay quiet so I don't interrupt. Oh, I thought I saw movement there on the right. Maybe that was just a stick. It spotted something. You can hear it make, well, maybe you can't actually. I can hear it making little angry hissing noises. The mongoose, that is, not whatever it's after. It could be a scorpion. That might also result in these very cautious behaviors. I'm scared of repositioning because I don't want to upset the mongoose and scare it into making a silly decision if it is something like a snake. But it's definitely not reacting like that to us. It's seen something. Darting forward and backwards. Has it cornered a snake in a hole, perhaps? This body language says snake to me for some reason. I don't know why I'm saying that. I think it's just the cautious approach that this mongoose is doing, and the way that its eyes aren't focused on one spot necessarily. Oh! I've never seen this before. What are you after, Rikki Tikki Tavi? Be careful. Don't go picking a fight with something bigger than you. Which, of course, is what dwarf mongoose do best. And, of course, doesn't give them... If they were to pick a fight with something bigger than them, it wouldn't give them a very wide range of opponents at all. What have you seen? Okay, backing up again. Is it going to go back there? Or does it feel as though it has scared off whatever was there? Is it looping round? Try from a different angle? I think that's exactly what it's doing. No, yep, that's exactly what it's doing. It's gone back around. Same spot. Very cautiously. I can't see anything. I definitely can't see anything. Now, if it were a snake, it would do one of two things. One is to try and hide itself in the crevice of the tree. One of three things, sorry. The other will be to climb into the tree. And the other option is to fight back. Now, I'm going to... oh. Now there's another mongoose. I was having a conversation with a mongoose, because if so, I'm going to be hugely embarrassed. The tree. That didn't look like mongoose communication to me. That looked like cautiously approaching an enemy. Now it's scuttled along. Where did it go, Eggs? Is it still close to this trunk? I'm going to take a chance and just go backwards 2 meters. And let's just see what's happening. The mongoose is out of the way enough that I don't feel too worried about it running into whatever it was scared of. There's a snake. Where's the snake? Oh, well spotted, Eggs. There we go. See? I told you it was a snake. Oh, Eggsy, well done. That is awesome. Jan, you wanted to know when we last saw a boomslang. Ta-da! How appropriately timed was that? It's a female boomslang. It's a female boomslang. I'm not joking. How crazy is that? Well done, Jan, for choosing the most... You win the most appropriate timed question. There you go. Look at it. There's that very typical shape of the face. That big, big eye. And shame. She's scared. She is very, very scared. The mongoose have moved off now. Let's just see if they come back. How was that? That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. What a phenomenal afternoon this has been. We might not have found Queen Karula. That is so cool. I love boomslang. It's my favorite snake. I absolutely love them. There's something about their eyes. And I actually don't really want to see this boomslang being eviscerated by the dwarf mongoose. I feel enough now. Not going to call it cute, Eggs. Definitely not going to call it cute. But they are beautiful snakes. The males are a bright and vibrant green. And the females are this brownish, slightly more subtle color. Standing by, Andrew. You can see she's on alert. She really wants to be in the tree. Andrew, if you go along Weaver's Nest, just past that Chelepan Road junction, if you keep going towards Philemon's Dip, you will see my tracks off-road going to the right towards that skova that runs between Weaver's Nest and Jigga Jigga Road. I'm on Jigga Jigga now, no sign of her. I'm just sitting with a boomslang here. East towards the Mulwati in the skova itself, but Rex, Orbs and I, we lost her in that thick stuff. Oh, sorry, making a noise on my mic. This is amazing. That is so cool. Now, boomslang probably isn't a threat. That, Eggsy, when I first stopped and I said to you they're squeaking, there's dwarf mongoose here somewhere, that was why. They were alarmed at the presence of this boomslang. That's what had set them off. Now, boomslang probably isn't a threat to a dwarf mongoose. They are tree hunters by nature, which is one of the big reasons why they've got those phenomenally large eyes. Shame. It's okay, girl. There are no mongooses close. You can probably go up in the trees, up into the tree. Now, Michael, you want to know, are they venomous? Yes. Hugely. In fact, the boomslang drop for drop has the most potent venom of any of the snakes out here. It is one of the most dangerous snakes, and it is not to be underestimated. It is, however, hemotoxic venom. In other words, it affects the blood's ability to clot. And what that means is that you've got plenty of time to get to hospital if you are bitten by them, and that's unusual because they're actually quite unaggressive snakes. Despite her posture at the moment, that's just because she's afraid. They're actually relatively chilled out snakes. I've seen people, I wouldn't advise it, please don't try this if you encounter a boomslang. I have seen people catch them by hand, They're also what's known as backed fang snakes, which is a very primitive type of snake. And a little bit later, depending on what happens, I will draw it in the sand for you. And I'll show you what I mean. But it basically means that they actually have to latch onto a part of you to really envenomate. However, just because you have 2 days to get to hospital doesn't mean you're not going to be very, very ill. I do know people who've been bitten by boomslangs. It is a long recovery process. It's not a pleasant recovery process, and it involves many blood transfusions. The antivenom is completely different to that of the other snakes. So there's a completely different antivenom geared towards boomslangs and vine snakes. Ask Taylor about her dream and the vine snakes when you next see her. I'm sure she'll have plenty to tell you about the dream that she had. So the vine snake is the other quite dangerous tree snake that we get out here, also with quite a sharp face. Hello, girl. Are you watching us closely? It's okay, the mongoose are not here. They're still around, though. Every now and again I see a flash of brown. But they have moved away from her. And as I said, she's not really a threat to them. That was just an instinctive response from that mongoose. Where is I going? Oh, yes. Big Eyes. It is a tree hunter, and it has very, very good vision. Now, most of you will know that generally, snakes don't actually see all that well. They see movement very well, but they don't see all that well. But for the boomslang and for the vine snakes, they actually need to have relatively good eyesight, because a lot of the things that they hunt would be things like chameleons, which are very, very difficult to spot, and they sway and move very slowly. One of the big reasons is, of course, so that they stay out of sight of something like a boomslang. I can't believe this. This is such a crazy afternoon. I can hear and it's difficult for you to hear, they're so high-pitched, but there are dwarf mongoose that are squeaking absolutely everywhere, very, very high-pitched, almost too high for me to hear. Oh no, oh my goodness. Eggsy's seen one sneaking up behind the snake. It must have just gone behind the tree. There it is. I can see its tail. It's just snuck round. You're in trouble. Sure. Oh, here comes one round the front as well. Here it comes. Here it is. The snake's seen it. You can see the wobble in slight fear from the snake. She's flickering her tongue, trying to smell. Now she's got to stay upright because she can't see. They're so low to the ground, she's got to be able to see over the blades of the grass and over the logs. She doesn't want a sneak attack, so she's got to keep it in her eye line. Mongoose backing up again. Going back in. Now, typically, mongoose will band together to mob snakes. So what's interesting about this is that's not what they're doing here, and I think that's because she's not as much of a threat. Okay, mongoose moving off, coming towards us. You little monster. Were you trying to catch a snake? Told you, we're going to have to call you Rikki Tikki Tavi. Now, Laura, you wanted to know how long they can grow, and you mean the snake, not the dwarf mongoose, of course. Laura, they can grow up to about 1 meter, which is around about 3 feet. They don't get as big as mambas or cobras. They don't need to be as big as mambas or cobras. They sort of, it's much easier to hunt in a tree if you are slightly smaller and more agile. So they tend to stay as quite thin snakes, and really 1 meter long mamba is quite a big mamba. Oh, sorry. Confusing you. 1 meter long boomslang. 1 meter long mamba is a normal mamba. In fact, that's actually a young, small mamba. 1 meter long boomslang is a big snake. They're so beautiful. Here comes the mongoose again. I have to say, I never thought I'd say this, I'm rooting for the snake. And Cindy, no. they don't normally stand up this straight for so long at all. When we see boomslangs, they're happily sliding through the branches of the trees where they feel comfortable. She's standing up like this purely to see the mongoose. The mongoose is launching another hissing attack at it. Forward lunges. I think the mongoose is just trying to chase it away. But a snake like this could be a good meal for a mongoose. I don't think that's what the mongoose has on its mind, though. It's being very, very careful. I would love to know. Listen, it's squeaking. Oh, can we use... Fortunately. Oh, hold on. There's one sneaking up behind the boomslang as well now. They've got it cornered from both sides. There's one on each side of the tree. An alarm call from another mongoose a little bit off to the right of me. Probably they saw a bird in the sky, and they've immediately sounded the alarm call, and immediately the little dwarf mongoose have gone running for cover. But are they going to come back? They're not. The mongoose are no longer reacting to us at all. The mongoose get used to us very, very quickly. Cheryl, you want to know why the snake doesn't go up the tree? I'm not sure, Cheryl. I've been wondering the same thing myself. I think she's too frightened to move too quickly. Yeah, the mongoose is coming back around the back of the logs again. Cheryl, I think she's a bit afraid to move suddenly in case she attracts the hunting instincts of the mongoose. So it's a kind of, you get fight or flight out here, but you get one extra additional option, and that is freeze. And I think that's what's happened here. I think she knows that a lot of all of our predators out here, their attack is based on motion. That's why we always say you never ever run away from a lion. And although these are not quite lion-sized, I think the principle applies, and I think she's too scared. It's such a short gap, though. It's just, I don't know, 30 centimeters between where she is and the tree. Please don't ask me to convert that right now. Under 15 inches. It's such a short distance to travel, but boomslangs, their strike is fast, but they're not generally not fast-moving snakes. I think she's just too scared. She's quite a small boomslang. She is fully grown. She's got her adult coloration, so the baby boomslangs look completely different. She's now looking the other way. Shame, girl. The mongoose are slinking round and round and round and round the base of this tree. Isn't she beautiful? I know that many people are... Oh, there she's moving. She's just checking, I think, that one isn't sneaking up behind her. I know that many people are terrified of snakes, and I can understand that, but this is a truly beautiful specimen, and hopefully your fear will turn to respect the more you see them. Go ahead. Negative, Rex. I'm sitting on Jigga Jigga Road. I haven't checked on that bummer in the last 45 minutes or so. She wasn't there when I last checked. I'm just sitting with a boomslang dwarf mongoose standoff. Okay, copy. Awesome, Rex. Thank you. I will start making my way there once we're done here. Oh, mongoose back again. Sneaking around. Oh, there's a vehicle coming. I think Rex is going to want to change the dynamic of the standoff happening. Oh, it seems as though it's all go this afternoon. Exciting things are happening. Let's go over to Taylor, who's found some favorite food of our dwarf mongoose.
It is indeed the favorite food of the mongoose, and what a fantastic sighting you're all having with Jamie. That is really something spectacular to see. Of course, mongoose surrounding a snake, because we often talk about it, but it's not normally what you get to see. But like Jamie said, another favorite food, of course, of the mongoose is a scorpion, and we seem to be having lots and lots of luck. Now, this is a big scorpion, and I don't know which one it is, just because it's hiding away. It could be one of the large burrowing scorpions, or it could be an exceptionally large Ostropicanthes asper. But I'm not going to dig him out because it seems to be very comfortable hidden away. And then we've got these ants. Have a look at these ants that are racing around here. Aren't they funny looking creatures? And there was a whole lot of eggs that were out and about underneath the wood, and they actually started collecting them and taking them back into a safer place. And there was even an egg on the scorpion. And they very, very gracefully and very gently moved towards the scorpion, touching it, just making sure that it wasn't going to try and attack them. And then they grabbed the egg off of the scorpion and then took it back down to a safe spot in a burrow. Isn't that wonderful? But we're going to cover him up now and let him go back to bed. Well, not really go back to bed. He's probably enjoying the last 20 minutes of daylight, and then it's going to have to come out and look for something to eat. Now, Jamie was telling you about my dream in the vine snake, and it was a weird dream because it felt like I was awake. I'm not actually sure, but I couldn't wake up from this dream, and it was just before my alarm went off. But basically what was happening is some strange person was trying to hand me a vine snake or a twig snake, and they're quite toxic. They've got a hemotoxic venom, and so it's basically it affects your bloodstream, if you will. But it's not very common to get bitten by one of those. They're quite elusive and they'll move away from you. They like to eat chameleons, really. And the worst thing is that they haven't actually developed an anti-venom yet either for the vine snake. So you try and keep away from one of those. Don't touch them. Keep a safe distance. Now you can imagine this panic in my dream is this person is going, here, take the vine snake. And I'm going, no, I don't want to touch it. It's a venomous snake. I'm not interested, and they were forcing me to the point where eventually I think they held me down or something, and they put the snake on me, and it was frightening. And I don't mind snakes. I love snakes, in fact, but venomous ones, not my favorite friend. And I think I've told you about Mrs. Brown. Louise, have I told you the story about Mrs. Brown? I don't know if I have. I've told so many things. Oh, maybe Louise says she hasn't ever heard of Mrs. Brown, so I'll tell the story again. Mrs. Brown was a brown house snake that I found. Mrs. Brown I found out on Game Drive and was slightly injured and wasn't really moving, and it was a freezing cold day, and it was just sitting out in the open of a road, and I thought that something was going to come along and eat it. So, very naughty, I picked it up and I put it in my top pocket. And Mrs. Brown was little. Mrs. Brown was probably only about that big, and she stayed up in my pocket for the rest of the drive. I drove around and got back, and I made a little terrarium for her, and we gave her all sorts of things to eat. And eventually, after a couple of months, she healed and she was eating and she grew a little bit. She even shed her skin, which was quite amazing, and she was beautiful. And I, of course, named her Mrs. Brown. And then I released her again, and she was a wonderful snake. And I don't know if snakes can become affectionate, but she was lovely. She used to crawl around me, and like I said, I decided to rescue her and give her another go at life, and I'm sort of glad I did. It was in my early guiding days. Whether I'd do something like that now, probably not, because I could provide a meal to a nice snake, but I was 19, I was young, I had no idea what I was doing, of course. But Mrs. Brown lives on in the bush, and I'll see if I can dig up a photo of Mrs. Brown. And I don't know if any of you have actually seen a brown house snake, but when you see them in the sun, they get the most amazing sort of shimmering purple and sort of mother of pearl color over their scales, and they're quite an attractive snake with a big white sort of eyebrows. Lovely natured snakes. They kill lots and lots of rats. They'll kill lizards, and I even saw a brown house snake once down in the southern Sabi Sands, which was really cool. And I watched it catch this big tropical house gecko and strangle it and constrict it, and then eventually eat it from head to the tail. Isn't that amazing? I sat for an hour. I was supposed to be doing wake-up calls. I don't think I was very late to wake up, my guess. But anyways, let's go back across to Jamie and see what's going to happen with the snake versus the mongoose.
She made it. She is safely up, wrapped up in the leaves of her tree. And what an incredible sighting that was. Hey, beautiful girl, it's okay. You're safe now. You can see she's still a little bit on edge, a little bit tense. So basically what happened was Rexon's on his way back to check on Karula. And as he drove along the road, the mongoose darted off away from the vehicle, and she immediately took that opportunity to shoot up into the trees. So a lucky, lucky escape for our gorgeous Boomslang. Really lucky. Hey, pretty girl. Up here, dwarf mongoose can climb trees a little bit, but they're definitely not going to be following her up into the tree. And this is where she truly comes into her element, gliding along the branches. It's just such a beautiful spot for her. And in this gorgeous, gorgeous afternoon light, girl, you were posing for us so nicely. And there you can see our snakes. I don't know how many of you have ever touched snakes or held snakes, but they're unbelievably strong. Alright, so you wanted to know if mongoose just kill snakes or if they will eat them as well. They will eat them. They can and they do eat them. It's quite unusual though. So this was what we were seeing here was very, very interesting. I don't know whether if this was hunting, if it was instinctive to try and chase her away, if it was an opportunistic situation where their instincts were just triggered. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's just a natural reaction of a mongoose to a snake. But they can and they do eat snakes, particularly the smaller ones. Things like a centipede eater, for example, or some of the blind snakes. If a blind snake happened to be out and about when it shouldn't be during the day and the mongoose happened upon it, then they would immediately seize upon that opportunity to grab her. That's incredible. I can't believe it. Just when James said that we'd used up all our luck, Eggsy. Oh wow, that was so cool. I'm so glad we got to see this Boomslang. And welcome to Sydney on our sunset safari. Lovely to have your question. I hope you found that as incredibly engaging as we did. Now, Sydney, you want to know if tree snakes will lay their eggs in trees, or will they go down onto the ground to lay them? That's a very, very good question because, of course, snakes generally will go looking for a fantastic cavity to hide their eggs. Now, most of our snakes will lay their eggs on the ground, but you are right. Boomslangs and vine snakes will lay their eggs in crevices of trees. I had to think there for a second. I'm trying to think if there are any tree snakes that are oviviparous, in other words, that give birth to live young, but I can't think of any. Tends to be the adder snakes, puff adders, vipers, that family. Wow, that was truly, truly phenomenal. What an incredible sighting. Well, she's safe in her tree now. I just want to check in with Rex and excuse. So we'll take one last look at her because I think this is where she's going to stay now. I think this is going to be it for the afternoon. We'll take one last look at her. I just want to contact Rexon. Rex. Ah, no luck. She still hasn't made it back. Okay, copy. Maybe she's resting here in the shade, or maybe she's just taking some time to find the cubs. I'll check in again a bit later. I'll double check on that kill. Groovy. Sorry, I won't get over the fact that Rexon said groovy on the Game Drive channel this morning. It made my day. So good news is we don't have to leave our Boomslang, so I'm going to stick around for a little bit longer because we don't often get to see them. Karula hasn't returned to the kill, so what we're going to do is send you... Sorry, Lou, I wasn't even paying attention. I was so flabbergasted. Where am I sending everybody? My apologies. I'm going to be sending you over to James at Chitwa Dam. I hope you all enjoy it.
I just have to do that every time we do the ident. That, everybody, is a very special bird called the red-winged pratincoll. In fact, it used to be called that. It's now called the collared pratincoll. We've seen it once, or I've seen it once with you. But for many of you, I suspect this will be a new bird on the bird list. Oh, my goodness, David, there's actually one of them's got a nest. If you come just slightly back here, down a bit, and straight in there, middle of screen. Up a bit. There. That one there, I think, is lying on a nest. There we are. Their nests are little hollow scrapes in the ground, and there are a few of them actually lying on the ground, and I wonder if they don't have nests. I think that's very cool. Now, I'd love to know from you, hashtags for our live questions at wildearth.tv, and they're off. This is what they do. Oh, that's beautiful. They can fly to great heights, apparently, on thermals. Not much of those around now, but they can forage together, and they're almost always found near large bodies of water. So they're probably going to go and forage. They're crepuscular feeders, so they feed this time of the day. How cool is that? Let's see where they go. They might come all the way back here. Oh, wow. That's the most wonderful thing. Catching the light as they go. They're just flying overhead now. Doesn't say, I couldn't figure out from the book how they catch their prey, whether they do it in the air or off the water, because they often skim. Here they go. They're coming down now. Watch this. They're skimming down onto the water or around the water, so very clearly there are insects in the air above the water. And here they go, diving into the water, along the water surface. Gee whiz, they are quick. It's like watching a whole lot of fighter jets going. Here they come back from the right, coming round again. They swung back to the left. How wonderful was that? They gained all that height and then came straight down. There they go. Almost impossible to follow them because they turn so quickly. They've got what is described as swallow-like flight. So you see they take off and then they turn extremely fast, much like swallows, pulling huge G's. And they're a little blacksmith lapwing as well. A couple of them still way up. Now, Justin, this is a great mystery that no one can answer. You say, how do they fly so close without bumping into each other? That's a swift, and nobody... David, you may have just pulled off a very first there. The live tracking of a swift. Not easy to do. Justin, you say, how do they not bump into each other? No one really knows. I mean, these guys are... Well, they're impressive, but they're nothing like as impressive as those clouds of starlings or red-billed quilias that take to the air in huge clouds. I mean, billions of birds, literally, in one cloud, and they don't crash into each other. No one has any idea why. I have a feeling that it's got something to do with them forming almost a collective organism, where it's like a collective decision. No one really knows the mechanism how or by which that happens, though. It's rather fascinating. Let's have one last look at them, and then I think we'll probably press on from here. The hippopotami are not behaving in a particularly entertaining fashion, but the Pratt and Coles have certainly given us a great show. There were also a couple of giraffe around here, but they seem to have moved off as well. Okay, we're going to head back towards Djuma, maybe pop past the Styx Pride again. While we do that, Taylor is watching the sun go down and would like to say bye-bye.
It's not just your average sunset. Have you ever seen a shongololo? Watching the sunset, of course, I mean a millipede when I say shongololo. It's my favorite word, and it's a hard habit to get out of, calling it by its proper name. But isn't that just beautiful? And we are in luck because we are going to have the most spectacular sunset this evening. It's going to be beautiful, and it's definitely only going to get better and better from here. But we're lucky. We've got the silhouette of the marula trees just in the background, of course, as we watch it disappear. And it'll probably only be a couple of minutes. I reckon about maybe 5 to 8 minutes or so before it dashes behind the trees and then, well, disappears even further below the earth, and then we'll get that lovely coloration coming off of the clouds, all the purples, maybe some oranges and reds this evening. There's really just enough clouds in the sky to give off a lovely, lovely sunset. And there's a bit of a haze this afternoon. There's a couple of cirrus clouds. You can actually see, look at it, it looks like somebody's taken a paintbrush and painted the sky. Now those clouds that you're looking at, they mean good news for us. Typically, cirrus clouds will indicate that bad weather is on its way in the next few days. So I reckon in the next 2 days, maybe 2.5, maybe 3 days, let's push it at 3 days, I think we're going to have a bit of rain again, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want these massive downpours that wreck and wash away all the topsoil and ruin the roads and all those types of things. We want this lovely, small downpours, 20, 30 mils at a time every week really, and then that way, the next time, and probably hopefully in a couple of weeks, maybe in a few months, it depends how much rain we have, we'll be walking along quarantine and the grass will be up to our chest. We'll have to be sort of be wading through it, and that'll be nice. Like I said, maybe when we get some really, really tall grass coming through, we'll start to see the quelias coming back. There's been a couple every now and then, but not as prolific in the areas that have got these massive grasslands. And well, this open area that we're standing on at the moment is perfect for quelias, maybe even cheetah plains, like I say. And that's what I'd love to see. Is, of course, now I'm going to have to say goodbye to you shortly because it's going to get a little bit unsafe now as this sun disappears behind the horizon. We don't want to be walking around when it's dusk because we can't see very well. But remember, we're going to do 10 minutes, of course, of the live 360 view on Periscope tonight. So make sure you tune in. Hopefully it's going to be very funny and entertaining. We'll see what we can pull out of our sleeves this evening. But from myself, Rian, and of course the protector Herbie, it's been absolutely wonderful. We've seen a variety of different things out here this afternoon. We're going to go back across to Jamie now, and well, I hope she has some luck in finding Karula. We'll see you tomorrow for the sunrise safari.
Oh, I hope we have some luck with Karula as well. And the way this afternoon's going, Eggsy, she might just come along and walk right past the vehicle while we sit here. We've just had the craziest luck. I can't bring myself to tear myself away from this Boomslang sighting. It's a rare opportunity. I also owe you an apology. I said that they can grow to about 1 meter. I've only ever really seen a Boomslang about 1 meter long, but apparently I've double-checked on my app, and apparently they can grow a little bit larger than that, up to really only just over 1 meter, or around about 1.5 meters for the really big specimens. And this particular snake, it's hard for you to get a sense of scale. She's tiny. She's probably only about 1 meter in length, so that's about 3 feet. She's all curled up. She looks enormous when we zoom right in like that, but she is in fact quite small. And she's had a very, very lucky escape. I'm just going to chat to, bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to chat to Andrew. Give me 1 second. Hello, Andrew. Good, and you? Hi, guys. There's a boomslang in this tree. It's hard to see. Yeah, where that little knobthorn grows up into the bush willow itself. She's sitting there. Cool. Cheers, guys. Sorry, it's quite hard to show you exactly where. She's hard to see. There she goes. There she is. So she's moving around a little bit. I'm going to speak nice and softly because Andrew's got guests here as well. And they have to, we're kind of blocking their view, so I'm hoping they get a chance to see it. There's that sensory tongue poking out. And of course that's transferring molecules of scent to her organ of Jacobson that sits on the roof of her mouth, a true organ of Jacobson. And of course the left and the right prong in the tongue allows her to sense direction, essentially, with her sense of smell. So a very, very dominant sense when it comes to snakes. And they're beautiful, smooth snakes as well. As she glides forward, you can see the scales are very, very smooth. It's not like the sort of rough skin of a puff adder. Even smoother than a mamba. Oh, she's gorgeous. Very dark black tongue. Hello, girl. Sensing the world around her, checking to see that there's no threats. And potentially even now thinking about going to find a meal. She doesn't look like she has any bulges. Now, unlike Karula, who we've been following or attempting to follow the whole afternoon, she doesn't need to eat once every 3 days. One big meal will keep her satisfied for a much, much longer period of time. And she's stretching out, moving from the knobthorn tree that she's been wrapped around onto the bush willow. Oh, and we've gone back to being still again. So as I said, males are bright green. Oh, and by the way, I sort of take this for granted, and perhaps I shouldn't. A the name boomslang, boom, tree, slang, snake in Afrikaans. Tree snake. That's where the name boomslang comes from. Or as they pronounced it in the Harry Potter films, a boomslang. The skin of a boomslang for polyjuice potion. Welcome to David in Napa. You wanted to know a little bit more about the scales themselves. You want to know if they are smaller towards the end of the snake and then get bigger towards the head. They're biggest towards the middle of the snake. So the scales, if we look at her head, the start of her head, they're quite small around the head. It allows for a greater flexibility, particularly around the jaw, so they don't block up in any way. And you can see the largest scales are actually the scales on the belly. Those are smooth and basically cover the entire underside of the snake. Look at that almost mother of pearl shine. How pretty is that in the afternoon light? And then you've got the sort of overlapping scales. They're generally roughly the same size throughout the body. And then, yes, as they get to the tail, they will taper off and get smaller. And each and every single individual species of snake has unique scales. There it's biggest on the left of your screen, those belly scales. Each and every species of snake has a unique odd about that in the tent when we first found that mamba skin, that massive mamba skin, and the fact that they're identified. Well, I mean, a boomslang is easy to identify, but you can, if you were to find the skin, count the scales around the upper labial, so the upper lip, around the eye, and around the cloaca, or the reproductive opening. And those will tell you a little bit more about the snake that you're seeing. Very good question from Judy H. I have to confess I haven't been paying much attention. Judy H., you wanted to know what is the creeper that the snake is moving through. It's actually, the one with the thorns that you're seeing is not a creeper. It's actually young branches of that knobthorn. So there's a knobthorn tree that is growing up in the middle of a bush willow. So if we go down just a little bit, Eggsy, there you can see the lighter colored bark of the knobthorn tree. And you can see the little knobs growing off them. So those are young, new green leaves of the knobthorn tree that are growing. There's also some wild jasmine wrapped up in there, I saw, and some bushman's grape. So those would be creepers that have climbed up into the tree itself. And there's another tree in there. I'm just trying to work out exactly what it is. It's a bit of a confusing bunch in this particular area. Looks like there's also a sour plum leaf in there as well. It's hard to see. So there you go. The ones with the thorns that you're seeing are just young knobthorn branches. Acacia nigrescens, for those of you wanting to look it up. This has been so cool. Now, Reese, you wanted to know with boomslangs, when they shed their skin, do they do it inside the tree, or will they go down to the ground? Will they find a crevice? Now, generally, they will try and find a crevice. So, of course, particularly at the beginning of the shedding process. Hello, girl. The shedding process is actually quite scary for a snake because they lose their vision. They can't see because the shedding, even the scales over the eyes or the covering over the eyes actually peels away. So their vision gets very, very milky. Their eyes get very milky. So yes, boomslangs will seek out crevices that they can hide in order to shed their skin. All snakes will do that, whether they're on a safe place where they can shed without feeling too vulnerable, because it is quite a dangerous time for them. Once the head is shed, then they're more comfortable about moving about. As soon as they can see again, they're not too stressed about it, which is why we so often see snakeskins dangling in trees. We found quite a few of them on bushwalk and other adventures. Okay, I think our female boomslang will probably be settled here for a while. I wanted to show you one thing. Hold on one moment. Let me see if I can get it up for you. Oh, Jamie, you silly person. I wanted to show you the eye colour and the different patterns of a juvenile boomslang. So they do look very, very different. Whoopsie. There's a casual Instagram notification. My apologies. There you go. That's what a juvenile boomslang looks like. Bright, bright green eye. Now that is a beautiful snake. Cool. Okay. Shall we go and check on Karula's kill? I think is what we shall do. While we do that, let's head over to James for an update and see what he's up to.
We are heading towards the lions again, which seem to have moved. No, they're just around the next corner, I hope. We left Chitwa Dam. Then we sat with the crested barbet, who was very friendly to us. There's an impala, who clearly doesn't know what's around the corner. Don't look so peaceful, chum. Life could get very difficult very shortly. Justin, it depends whether children are watching this broadcast or not, how I answer this question. You say, if I was an antelope, what would be the last thought that went through my mind before I died? I suspect it would be an unrepeatable word. If it wasn't an unrepeatable word, then it would be something like, oh dear, this is it. Or, oh, lion. Or, what else would you think an impala might say? There's an impala clamped, at least there's a lion clamped its jaws around his head. I think he might say, gosh darn, didn't see that coming. Oh well, lucky there are lots of me. That's that sort of thing, Justin, I'm not really sure. There's rather a beautiful sunset going on. Very pretty. I'm breaking the law, David. I'm going to take a picture of it. That's so naughty of me. My naughtiness is boundless. You know what? Sunsets very, very seldom come out the way you want them to. Ooh, that was supposed to be on silent. Sorry about that, everybody. I really did break the law there. Anyway, we'll go back to the lions as the sun descends west over the western horizon, obviously, if it is going down in the west. Oh, sorry, Dave. There's a pink tongue sticking out from the top of that cloud. Can you see it? That is bizarre. What a very pretty pink tongue sticking out from the side of that cloud. All right, let's go back to the lions. They've hardly moved since we last saw them. In fact, I don't think they've moved at all. One of them's moved, I can't tell which one, and they're currently very deeply asleep. Now, I don't know if any of you agree with me that perhaps they are, well, do you know what I mean when you look in their eyes and there's something kind of, well, slightly scary about them, slightly criminal, dare I say it, about their eyes? And something very sad about their mange. But, like I say, I think that these two little bit of scratching, but that's really nothing like they would be scratching normally if the mange was a real problem. He seems to be eating his own tail, her own tail. Hello, Damon. You're a very observant fellow. You're 13 years old, and clearly you've got very good eyes. You say, why do lion cubs have spots on them? The reason is because of where they live. Now, I want you to think of the leopards, hopefully, that you saw earlier. Did you see Karula earlier, Damien? If you didn't, you may be about to. Anyway, they have spots their whole lives, obviously, and they move through thick bush, like the bush that we're actually surrounded by here. And it's very unusual that we would find a lion lying out like these, at least a leopard lying out like these lions are. So, when lions are very little, before they join the pride, they live in thick bush like this. They're put and stashed away in caves and in thick bush, in very sort of shaded areas, in drainage lines, and those areas are full of shadows. And the spots help them to hide in those shadows, Damien. Then when they get much bigger, it becomes much more difficult for them to move in thick bush, and the lion is not a thick bush liver like a leopard is. They don't live in forests, they live in savannas and woodlands and grasslands. And if you're going to live in a savanna or a woodland or a grassland, it helps to be that tawny color rather than the spotted color, because you can move through the long summer grass, and that helps you when you're trying to kill something on the plains. So that's basically why the little ones have got spots and the adults don't. And you can see these guys have already kind of lost their spots because they've started to move with the pride. Perfect little feet. We were asked this morning about tracks and the relative sizes of leopards and lions' tracks. That's about the size there of a leopard track that you're looking at, a little 6-week-old lion cub, about the size of a female leopard track. But what you can see is that the front pads are exploded from the back pad. Did you see that? They weren't touching. That is extremely characteristic of any cat track. And if we look at the adults' tracks there, very nice, you can see there's the same thing. There's hair in between the toe pads and the back pad. Now on a hyena, and often some of the dogs, you don't find that gap. And that shape is exactly the same as the shape that you will find, or within reason, on the front feet of your house cat. So if you've got a house cat, you've, I'm sure, done this while you've been stroking them perhaps, their feet, you've put your hands onto their feet and sort of pushed their claws out and that sort of thing, and you'll know that the shape of the pads underneath a domestic cat's foot, although probably 1/10 the size of that, are exactly the same shape. And just, yes, eating her own tail, possibly on account of the mange. Yeah, Suzanne, interesting question from you about why it is that you think, I think mange affects this pride so much more than it does the Nkuhumas. I don't think it's their location. I think it's to do with how much they're eating. These guys are skinny. They don't look in great condition to me. The cubs look like they're skinny as well, and that means that they're just simply not eating enough. And if you're not eating enough, you know that if you're eating poorly, your body struggles to fight off disease. And I think the same thing's going on here. I just don't think they're eating properly. Why that should be the case, I don't really know. They're not buffalo specialists like the Nkuhumas, but there was a lot of weak buffalo, or there when the Styx were there over the course of the drought. They didn't seem to go for them. I mean, probably because they were so sort of denuded of nutrition themselves. But I think the drought took its toll on these cats. And it's interesting, I mean, if you draw a graph, I'll try and draw it for you one day, not right here in the sand, because the lions don't really like mathematics, and so I'm not going to draw it for them. As the drought begins, the herbivores start to get weaker and they lose condition, and the carnivores have a field day because they have lots to eat. But there comes a point, if the drought goes on for long enough, beyond which it actually becomes disadvantageous for the carnivores as well, because the herbivores start to lose so much condition that the carnivores eating them are unable to gain insufficient nutrition. Now, I think that happened here with the mange. It's almost certainly what happened with the white muscle disease that took 2 of the Nkuhuma pride cubs, and we thought was going to take a few of the adults. And so it's quite interesting when a drought happens. Initially, it's a boom time for the carnivores, and after which it becomes a bad time for just about everybody. And those effects are lasting. They don't just recover with the first rains. It takes a long time for the animals to recover. And that drought, of course, is the way of cleaning a little bit out, weeding out, or the nature's way of weeding out genetic weakness. You can just see the disgusting crusted milk there, I think, on the suckle mark there. Right, Jamie Patterson has got a better view of the sunset than we had, so let's go and have a look at it.
Same sunset, just a really, truly spectacular view. And what a perfect way to end off what has been a truly fantastic drive, hasn't it, Eggsy? Aren't you glad you came out? Yeah. Look at that. It's so amazing. It looks like that sunset's been painted in places. There's sort of streaks of color, streaks of gold and pink. In orange. Look at that, it's almost liquid. Isn't that beautiful? Like a brush stroke. Karula? Hey, Eggsy, isn't that sunset cute? Wait for it, Karula? Yes, no? I'm really chancing it. Oh, man. Yo, that is beautiful. I did pop round to see whether or not there was any sign of our leopards at the kill. They haven't returned. Here's what I think's happened. I think little miscreant cubs have gone for a little bit of a wander, as is they want, as they get older and more independent. And I think Karula's actually trying to find them. I think that's why it's taken her so long. Look, she might have killed at some point in between. Andrew thinks he heard a contact call in that very, very dense vegetation. So she might just be trying to quite literally not herd wet cats, but herd cats. She's trying to herd her cubs back towards that kill. So first thing on the sunrise safari, we will go straight back there, and I have no doubt we'll find all three of them back together in that tree, and I can't wait. I mean, you know, you shouldn't wish away beautiful sunset moments like this, but I'm almost dying to get into bed so I can wake up and go and see whether or not Karula gets back to that kill with those two cubs. I'm sure she will. It really is the most beautiful evening. The shadow of the clouds is sort of, I don't know, it's cut shadows across the sky all the way to the east. I can't describe feelings on evenings like this. It's hot and very sweaty, sweltering in fact, but still unbelievably beautiful with this deep, deep blue of the sky. I'm so chuffed. What a fantastic afternoon this has been. It's a real toss-up between Karula's sudden appearance and that Boomslang dwarf mongoose interaction. I don't even know if somebody said to me, pick your favorite moment of this afternoon, I couldn't pick one. But the sunset is lovely, but it's not quite there. It's a close third after those two sightings. Now apparently there is some rain on the way. Apparently there is some rain upon the way. Upon the way? There's some rain upon the way. It sounds like a Monty Python song. There is some rain on the way, which is good news again. Perhaps we can see... I forgot about the baby warthogs, Eggsy. Okay, so the sunset's a close fourth. Sorry, sunset. You are beautiful, though. Okay. Well, we shall be slowly but surely wending our way back towards camp. It is actually too dark, really, for us to sit with Karula and Cubs anyway. We're not going to spotlight her, even though she does have that kill in the tree. Her cubs are still a little bit too young for us to run that risk. So even this evening, we probably wouldn't be able to sit with them in this low level of light. So we're going to be slowly but surely wending our way onto quarantine, see what's up there. Oh, wait, hold on. Now, I do have to actually rush back to camp. Apparently, we're going to be doing this Periscope Live 360 something. I don't quite know how it works. This will be my first time actually being there, seeing it done. So join us then straight after drive. But it is time for me to say my goodbyes and thank yous. So well done, Eggsy. Very, very well done, Eggsy. And thank you to all of you for sending through your questions and comments. I hope you join us on the Sunrise Safari tomorrow. We are going to find Karula. I can just feel it. Bye-bye, everybody. Until I see you again.
We are going to have one last look at that kill site. I know Jamie's just been there, but maybe we'll be very lucky. I feel I have a right to see Karula today. Herbert and I walked a lot, and Egbert walked a long way to try and find that leopard this morning. And Herbert did a quite astonishing tracking job. And yet, here we find ourselves without leopard, without mongoose eating snake. We have got mongoose. There they are. But they aren't catching a snake, are they, David? No, they're just going inside their home. Go and catch a snake. Go on. Don't look at me like that. Yes, you should look ashamed. Right, we're going to carry on. We don't have a huge amount of time left. Very nice to see the Styx again. Now, I know they weren't doing a huge amount, but that's the time of the day. I haven't seen them for a long time. That's the first time I've met those two cubs. And I think they'll be okay. And I love the fact that they're such different characters from the Nkuhumas. They really are. Yeah, I mean, I just get a totally different vibe from them. I don't really know how to describe it. I wouldn't be surprised, actually. The last time I saw the Styx Pride, this can't be right. I don't think I've seen them since they lost their cubs the first time to the Birmingham boys. That's a long time ago. But maybe they'll spend a little bit more time here. Of course, the more time they spend here is probably because the Nkuhumas have been spending more time in the north, so they're feeling less of that pressure. Right, we are on to Weaver's Nest, where the leopard perhaps was. Marvellous. Laura, that is the best news I've had all day. You're in New Mexico. It's been snowing. I'm sorry about that, although it's probably quite nice for you. You say you've learned so much from the show, and your kids have learned so much. The first thing they did after the snowfall today was to go outside and track a cat. I think that's fantastic. Thank you very much for that message. Those are the best kind of messages that we get. Thank you very much. Love to hear that you enjoy being with us and that you're taking some of what you're learning here elsewhere with you. It's the best. Here is Johan. There appears to be a lack of clothing on the back of this car. Johan, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there are some people on the back of your car who seem to have lost their shirts.
But don't tell them.
David, should we take a safari without our shirts on? No, I don't think we should. I think the amount of the great forest that would protrude from my chest would put everyone off. It's a bit like the impenetrable Strychnos thicket just east of Mvubu Road. Let's not talk about that again. Let's go and find the leopard. Shouldn't be just down the corner. I hope, just through the drainage line. And anybody, you can stop me if you think I'm going past where the leopard is. I think she was just on the southern side of Ingwe Alley. How much time have we got left? We have got 5 minutes, 4 and a bit minutes. Hold on, David. I'm gonna drive a little bit closer, faster. I'm not gonna drive closer, I'm gonna drive faster. It's been a lovely hot day today, but not too hot that it's unpleasant. Very pleasant summery day. Just remember, everybody, TV show, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you watching on the internet, of course, you'll be able to watch from 5 o'clock. Oh, no, you won't. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Don't take me seriously. We'll be going live at 6 o'clock Central African Time on Monday morning. So North America, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That first hour of the show, which would normally be an internet drive, will not take place. We'll be out tracking. And then come 6 o'clock, so an hour later than normal, just on the Monday, we will go live with the TV show. Yeah, it should be just up here. We really are running out of time now. 4 minutes left. David, you will tell me if you see any tracks going off-road, won't you? Thank you so much. It's difficult to decide exactly what the highlights of my day were, of course, given that we didn't have... There are some tracks going off here. Given that we didn't have mongoose eating snakes, Karula killing live in front of us. And then down this way, Jamie is watching, apparently in the final control now. This way, Jamie? Does this look good to you? Left, right? Peter's large stick there. Yes, we're going the right way. Straight towards the drainage. Marula tree pajamas. Ah, it's in the drainage. There. On the left or the right? Right, I think that is a low-fold milkberry I'm looking at. Apparently in the middle of that tree that we're on, and I can see a leopard. Yeah. The leopard is there. The leopard is in there, Davy. I'll just try and get us in quickly. Quickly, chop. It's that big thick tree across there, David. 1 minute and 30 seconds left. There. The thick tree, if you go to the back of the thick tree there. No, sort of to the left of the base. There. Okay, so go left a bit, up, and zoom in there. There you are. Beautiful. That looks like young Hosanna, who is now hissing, probably at his sister or his mother, neither of whom I can see. Well, that's a really nice way to end our drive. I'd love to speak to Karula and find out where on earth she was this morning. But anyway, there it is. Baby Impala, not such a good day for him, of course. In fact, really bad day, David, the worst kind of day. Difficult to have a worse day than that. But Karula and little Shongile will be around there somewhere. Okay, we'll come back in the morning. Until then, everyone, it's time for us to say goodbye to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Well done, David. An exceptional job on camera with the Pratt & Coles especially. They were my highlight of the day. Not quite the same as Jamie's. Very good. Big thanks to Jamie and Taylor, of course, as well. And to Louise and Kirsten, the final control. And mostly to all of you. Thank you for coming on Drive with us yet again. We'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye.